we're going to go live. But I'll keep looking over here in case there is stuff, and then it'll show up there obviously too as we look.
Yeah, but I like how this has grown.
Yeah, over like what, a week?
Yeah, we can talk about this too.
Yeah.
Ooh, it says you're live now.
Whoa.
Well, we're live now. I think we're
Live. Let them come in. Get in.
Come on in.
Get
Come on.
involved. Let's go.
Back it on in.
In this. And let's see the
Back that
little delirium
ass
deck
up.
of cards I got there.
Look at that.
Don't talk-
We're getting decorations in here
I mean,
now.
I'm not sticking them. They're just, I'll change them up.
This is
But
like
this will always stay here.
this is authoritative. This is real
So
cool.
stay.
Like we have stickers. We know what we're talking about.
We've been live for 33 seconds. Jesus. All right.
All right. Get an introduction.
Let's get going. Okay. And we're live. What's going on from the Let's Talk Beer studios in the seacoast of New Hampshire? This is Let's Talk Beer, the podcast where we talk about beer. And I'm your host, Brian. And with me again, third week in a row.
Something like that.
Yep. Jeff, what's going on?
Not much. I'm glad to be here. I think I might get a co-host title maybe in the next couple weeks.
Yep.
I mean,
After the 5th episode, you get the jacket.
Okay.
And it's a nice smoking jacket. We then go to Federal Cigar and celebrate there.
oh well. When do I get access to the secret lounge? Like, is there a handshake I have to learn?
Just
and
gotta walk upstairs to the attic.
Oh, okay.
Just
It's
sit
too
there.
hot-
Sit
too
there in
hot
the heat.
there. But hey,
Yeah.
we could definitely do a road show from Federal anytime.
Absolutely.
Anytime you want to go to Federal, I am down.
And speaking of roadshow, big thanks to Jeff. We are working constantly every week trying to get this video thing running. We've been trying to do it for the past 3 weeks. The computer we had first didn't work out, but Jeff found from basically a dumpster a sweet laptop that.
No, let's not say a dumpster. He's the guy that gave us the Sip of Sunshine too.
Oh, really?
I was able to acquire
Okay.
it from my.
I don't know
my
how much
old
I can
boss.
disclose about
no,
this.
I was able to acquire it from my old boss.
Got it.
He gave us this lovely can of beer.
Yep.
For those of you at the camera, there it is, Sip of Sunshine. We got a second one too. We're only going to drink one.
Hell
But,
yeah.
yeah, we got top of the line 3-year-old equipment.
Yes,
So,
and we are streaming live on Facebook. So if you listen to the podcast, this will be archived on the Facebook page. Please get in there, drop it a thumbs up, and tell your friend about it because we're going to try to do this where we kind of do little live videos / record the podcast for those that want to do it either way. So we're going to keep it going.
and Brian took all the time to get back on Facebook to do this so
Yeah,
we
I
could
know.
support
All-
this.
all-
So
all I gotta
make
do
it
is-
worth his while.
All I got to do is sign in. And what sucks is if you ever create a Spotify account using Facebook, it sucks because every time you try to relog into Spotify, if you have deactivated your Facebook account, it emails you, "Welcome back to Facebook."
Oh yeah, because you
So, but
just
I'm in.
stay on Facebook and don't use it.
I mean, oh, that's for sure. I only follow like restaurants, breweries, and stuff like that. So let's get into it. The past week, over the past week, I've done a few things, but I want to specifically talk about the beer we have now. Well, first of all,
Yeah, the one we have now.
First of all, cheers to my dad, aka Rick Brews, on Twitter and Untapped. He did a Pliny clone and hopped the hell out of it, and this is pretty tasty. Mm-hmm. Also, shout out to the company, which I forget the name because I took off the the MIIR, the Mirror Growler. They sent this over a couple months ago, and I finally got a chance to put it to work by having my dad put stuff into it. So
Is that like Yeti-ish? Is that
yeah,
has
so it'll stay cold for 24 kind of thing. If you
Really?
yeah, if you put stuff in, I haven't tried it.
will it
so
also stay hot as well if you put hot stuff in
I
it?
believe so. Yeah.
Okay.
So shout out to him. Also shout out to my neighbor who's definitely lawn mowing right now. So if you get in there, it is what it is. We're doing this. We're not in a studio. We're in a man-made studio here. So don't worry about
Well,
that.
I would hope all studios are man-made, so don't discount it. This
there's
art on the walls.
We got
there's
art. We got stuff.
microphone stands. Like, I'm not holding this microphone. My hands are free. All right,
and you can see it on Facebook Live.
this is a real studio. Don't let him.
All right.
Don't let him say that.
So yeah, Pliny Grown from Rick Brews. Awesome. Well played, sir. Thank you for it. But I do have a bottle of beer from Mystic. Would you want to go ahead and open that up? And
Sure. Yeah.
As I tell you about it. So yesterday, a friend of mine and I went down to Boston, and our initial plans were to go to Boston. But then we're like, no, we can just drive around and not pay for parking at all the surrounding breweries around Boston. First stop was Night Shift.
Awesome place. I
yeah,
still haven't been
it's
to
great.
their new location, but it's
For
awesome.
real?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
my God.
I'm behind
Okay.
the times.
Yeah, no,
I
no.
was an early fan of theirs.
Yeah, so the Night Shift, so the new Night Shift, I was there, but I don't think I'd been there since they pushed out a little bit more. So they added another side room, I think. Great brewery, obviously. What we found out is sure they're known for a couple of their hoppier beers, but look at that.
Yeah, that was for effect.
Coming in real good. So they have some hoppy beers, but what's good about them is they kind of excel in a lot of different styles too. A lot of good sours and Weisses and things like that. I had a couple good, and they're actually getting very heavy into the German beer game. So I had a good Roggen beer, a Schwarz beer from them. Awesome.
What is a Roggen beer? I'm not familiar with that one.
We have technology that we can look it up right now. Let's see. I'll type in Roggen beer as I'm talking, and that should be fine for a podcast as we do this. But so the Schwartz beer was great, but the Roggen beer was great. But they only had can pours of it. But what you can do at Night Shift is if they only have the can, you can just buy a can and they'll pour it in a glass for you, which is awesome.
Oh, that's nice. They don't do growlers anymore, right? Is that true?
I believe that to be true.
That a while ago.
Yeah,
so I have one of their growlers. Is it worth money?
Definitely.
Can I sell that now?
Yeah, I mean, which means I should have kept on my Blue Lobster one, but I threw all of them out. So that's it.
Let's do it. I don't tend to throw away growlers mainly because I don't get that many.
Yeah.
And I figure I should keep the few that I have as decorations, but I also keep coins in them. So
yeah,
they have a second
Coinstar.
life.
Yeah,
second life.
So Roggen beer right here by Beer Advocates.
Oh, I got my
right
little
there.
TV. I can see this stuff on too. This studio is professional,
and it's kind of like we're looking at you, the viewer.
Exactly. I'm not sure who I'm supposed to be looking at right now, the viewer or Brian.
Yeah, no. So it's a traditional German style rye beer that typically contains very large portions of rye.
So am I to assume that Roggen might mean rye in German?
I don't know.
We'll need to get the phone in portion of this going.
Hey Siri,
so
how do you say rye in German? It's rye. No, but yeah. So Roggen beer was good. They obviously all their stuff is great. But going back to your growler thing, I believe they used to sell the growlers in the cans, where they now sell the merch in the cans. So the growlers might be gone.
Yeah, because when I was frequenting their original location, it was also when. Who was the small one next to them? Was it Idle?
It was.
Hands?
So at their old place was Idle Hands.
Yeah. So and I bought a nice glass from Idle Hands. Unfortunately, it broke on the ride home. It was a really nice stemmed one because they're no longer. They don't have their own facility, right? They're sort of brewing with somebody.
No, Idle Hands does now. And
they do
and
now.
We didn't get a chance to go there. We were told when we went to Mystic to get there, but we didn't because we kind of planned out to go start at like 11:30. But a lot of breweries open at 4. So by that time we were in another part of Boston.
Okay.
But after night shifts, we went over to Mystic. Down the road, I mean, Everett, Chelsea, like that area. It says they're
all
like
the same thing.
Yeah, but and there says they're 2 miles or so away, but they take a lot of time to get there because it's
17 stoplights and all
17
that.
stoplights, a lot of potholes. You're driving real slow, things like that. So we get over to Mystic. We actually ran into 2 of the same people we saw at Night Shift, which is always good.
It always happens. It seems like that always sort of happens. It means you're sort of going in the right way, I guess. If people are following.
It was a couple from Philadelphia, kind of just coming around. They were in town for the Red Sox game.
Did they bring cheesesteaks?
They didn't bring it. No, they didn't smell like cheesesteaks either.
Oh, that's
so,
yes, because that's really, I mean, all that Philly's good for.
And to their credit, they didn't look like they've had a cheesesteak in their life.
Oh, all right. So maybe they're not familiar.
Thin and yeah, they look pretty healthy. But so we were sitting there talking at the bar. I have my wallet on me and I have his card. So I'm gonna give him a shout out. The guy behind the bar, the
bartender,
bar manager.
No.
Wow! We had a card. I don't know if it. Yeah. So big shout out to Dan Spinelli, Spinale, taproom manager at Mystic. He saw that we were just talking amongst ourselves and enjoying beer. He just started opening up bottles of things that they were selling and giving us little samples of all the bottles that offer. It was great. What I have right here is the table beer, which I started off with, but may as well get into it. It's a 4.3% Farmhouse. Cheers.
It smelled farmhousey when I opened it.
Oh yeah, it's good.
Oh yeah,
and so the concept of the table beer is like the farmhouse version of a session beer, I guess, or it's like a session farmhouse kind of thing.
Probably because it just sort of sits on the table, like
exactly like you can pass it around. It's supposed to come in a bottle like this, kind of like a wine, and just kind of enjoy it over dinner. Another famous table beer would be Allagash.
Mm-hmm.
Or is Allagash
has? Well, they have their hoppy table beer.
Hoppy table beer. Okay, yeah.
All right, or is that
the one they sell in the case? Like the.
I only see it on tap usually. It's got like a bluish colored tap handle, I think.
Couple shout outs here.
Oh, look at that! We got
Dave Kingston.
Oh, Dave Kingston. That's Timmy's dad.
All right, and then Dave Morrell, brewer over at Bad Lab.
Apparently, we're only allowed to have Daves.
That's true. Yeah,
only Daves are visitors.
I got to turn that filter off. That's crazy. But yeah, so we popped some bottles there. Some very good styles of beer. Mostly, we had a quad. We had a Imperial Stout. And what was funny is as we were sitting there tasting, in the back I see people brewing there, and I'm like, this guy looks familiar. And it was Will Myers of Cambridge Brewing Company.
Oh,
so
nice.
I guess they brew once a week there to kind of like get more capacity for their own. So they just show up there once a week, brew, and
awesome,
and then either pipe it back or bring it over or something. But they brew
Put it
there.
in some sort of vessel.
Yeah. So it was cool to see them. And then so from then on, again, thanks Dan for the awesomeness at Mystic. That's not coming in, but
You can add it to your flare pile up
yeah,
there.
flare pipes, toss it up there. But yeah, so from Mystic, we ended up going to a brewery that's not open yet, called Down the Road. Have you had the beer from Down the Road Brewery?
I don't know. Have I?
You may have seen the can or the label. Like the
gonna
beer's
have to
out
look- I'm
there.
gonna have to look the logo up now and see.
I forget where they brew out of now, and if someone is in the chat, they can tell me. But they are currently setting up their own facility just down the road again from Mystic. So
Hence the title, just down the down the road.
Didn't even catch that.
And you just said it too. That's awesome.
Son of a. But yeah, so down the road, it's coming. The place is huge, and they had at least. I should take a picture, but I didn't because I was just too enthralled with like the guy telling me about it all. But at least 8 pinball tables and like cool like seating area. It's gonna be a
Nice.
couple weeks.
They
but,
got a cool website here. They got looks like some pictures with some little gremlin-y guys like picking at hops and stirring stuff.
They had a pretty sweet sign, and they had a name for that little guy or whatever it is, a troll or something.
It invokes some of the Deacon Giles artwork
Good call.
in here.
Awesome. Yep. So I tasted some of their beer before, but I had their pale there. It was good. But that was just a quick tour. Say hey, whatever. But then we went over to we now went way down the road to Newton. Went to a place called Hopsters. Ever heard of Hopsters?
Other than when you said it to me
Yesterday.
No, prior to that, no.
Yes, no. So Hopsters, and I had heard about it from an article way back in the day that Norm Miller, Real Beer Nut, former podcast host of my previous Dead podcast, the podcast about dead things. It's the topic. So it's a place where you can either go and brew your own beer. You pick a recipe from a binder of things. They walk you through the whole process from like boiling to fermenting, and then you come back, you bottle it, or you growler it or keg it, and then you take it home.
I feel like those places sort of popped up for a while, but I never felt like they took off. I don't know if it was is it the ease of homebrewing your like at home. Really, if you want to do an extract batch, you just need like a pot and a carboy and a seal.
So and I think what this place did that a lot of those other places didn't is they also have a brewery in house.
So they're making beer.
So they're making money if they don't make enough money by people making beer.
Yeah, because I always felt too that some of those other show up and brew your own places, the price structure just didn't seem worth it.
I
looked into one because I'll be honest, I got a gift card for one.
Yeah.
But then when we realized that the gift card wouldn't even cover like a third of a batch,
come on.
I was like, and no fault to the gift giver. This is not a dig at the gift giver gifts. It was a lovely thought, but it was just like all that money to. I mean, I guess I don't have to clean up, which really is the worst part of home brewing. But like, it just didn't feel like it was worth it to me.
No, and I mean, and luckily for this place, they have another backup plan in case it all goes to hell. But when we took a tour of the basement, you could see the section of like where people's beers are fermenting, and there was a ton. So so
people are doing it then.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And so much so where you make your own labels and things like that. Like,
so, all right. So it's a complete
there's a package
experience
for sure.
Basically, you make yourself look like a home brewer to your friends.
Yeah. And then they take care of the fermenting. You come back and like you either hand bottle it, you take the actual keg, whatever. It's cool. And again, they have when I was there yesterday, 15 of their own beers on tap, maybe more.
Wow, that's
a lot.
That's quite an assortment.
Yeah.
Although I guess if you're trying to lure people into brew stuff, you probably should offer a lot of styles to compare.
Definitely.
That way you don't get
true.
that person's like, I don't like beer.
Yeah.
Well, you just don't like the right kind of beer or something.
Exactly. And they had a bunch of different stuff. Even some New England IPAs, which are actually drinkable, not the ones.
I thought we weren't doing those anymore.
I was
pull up
given
the
a quick
last
sample.
podcast.
Yeah. And we can play audio now. Go. But
we need a soundbite board.
I was hoping there's gonna be an Oktoberfest, but my hopes are too soon.
It's not October.
But I say that because the Copper Legend is on shelves now. Jack's Abbey. We did it.
We can have a whole show on seasonal creep. All right.
They were brewing. CBC was brewing pumpkin.
Well, which I guess you got it. I mean,
I guess you brew it now. Sure.
That is the thing too. People need to realize you do have to brew it early because it doesn't immediately show up. It's not just like magic.
Fact.
But I don't know. I don't get the whole thing. Yeah. I'm not going to judge a brewery any less if their Oktoberfest isn't the first one out. I'm actually probably going to judge them as a better place if they're not trying to cram Oktoberfest down my throat.
So Oktoberfest, yes, and obviously the pumpkin beer, if it's real pumpkin, will come out in a timely fashion.
Well, you need pumpkins.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Like,
So if you see a pumpkin beer now, I mean,
what is it? Last year's pumpkins, or like, are they using that canned pumpkin stuff you make pies with?
Man. Yeah,
I mean, again, we could talk about pumpkin beer later. If
we
want
will.
to.
Yeah, we will.
Like,
We'll press pause on that. So Hopsters is great. Check it out. It's in Newton. Not much else around there, but very close by. After that, we went over to a place called Lulu's Alston. It's an little town called Alston, and it is probably. And my friends that were there were saying this is the best tap list ever. And I'm like, I'll be the judge of that.
Yeah.
As a motorcycle goes by, but I'll be the judge of that. And sure enough, the best tap list I've seen in Boston, and I've been in Boston. We were talking about Stoddards. We were talking about Jam Curly's.
Yep.
Like this
rivals
them. And
do you have a list of what it was? Do we have any?
I'll post a picture.
Okay.
But what sucks is I took a picture of the menu. Didn't know there was a side 2.
Oh, so we only have half the list.
Yep. And it could be online too. But you name it. They had multiple fiddleheads. They had multiple Trilliums. A bunch of like a Black Hog on Nitro. Just like I'm looking at this, I'm like I want everything, but I can't because I got to drive back.
Mm-hmm.
But I ended up with the Milk Stout from Black Hog, and then I ended up doubling down on the dark beers. I went for the something dark something from Trillium.
Yeah, I don't know all their beers.
It was one of my first beers from Trillium, but yeah, the list was great, and trying to help coach someone who was from San Diego. Asking what beers are good, I'm like, honestly, like a lot of these are good. So I was like, Fiddlehead, get in there for it. So it's great. Apparently the food's good too, but the beer list was crazy.
Awesome.
So Lulu's Alston, that's all I got. Is that all I have to talk about for that? That's pretty much. What about you? What have you been up to in the last week, huh?
Honestly, so I have definitely not been doing as much beer-oriented activities as Brian does. Every week when we talk about this, I always have, well, I drank some beer, and that's about it is my update. And again, that's sort of it. Other than I did purchase the tickets to the New Hampshire Brew Fest at Red Hook, VIP session as always. So I know Brian's going to be getting in on that, as are a bunch of my other friends. It's sort of a big weekend for us. I actually, in front of me here, have a piece of paper I found in my car as we were coming over here. Don't ask me why I was digging through my car. But this is actually the beer list from the 2012 iteration of that festival, which may or may not have been the first one that I ever went to. I don't. Maybe it was 2011. Actually,
so that means
2011 was the first one I went to.
So you clean your car out once every 5 years.
Yeah, there was a bunch of Red Sox tickets next to this too. Someone must have tipped something over and found it.
Those are bad seasons.
It was interesting. I know this isn't really what I've done the last week, but it's funny. There's 36 breweries that went to this festival, and hardly any of them were from New Hampshire, which just goes to show. I think last week we talked about how there's. I don't remember how many number of breweries there are in New Hampshire now.
Yeah, I think it was about 60 or so. Or more.
Yeah, and literally, I mean, as I just quickly scroll through this, there's like 5 from New Hampshire.
I wonder, is Great Rhythm on that list?
Great Rhythm is, but because this was before they had built their brewery. And
right. Totally.
Yeah, and all they have is their stout, which I've never seen.
Exactly.
I've not seen.
God, I remember that fest.
Resonation and then Fall Harvest Ale. And then you look at there's like Portsmouth Brewery had. Ginger Ninja, Portsmouth Pale,
which is funny.
They had their pumpkin on as well.
It's funny because Ginger Ninja is now brewed by Black Hog.
Yeah, that was a Tyler Jones recipe. Yeah. This is also when Smutty had the strawberry short ice out. So nice. Interesting little bit of history here.
Yeah.
It was interesting to find. Didn't expect to keep this. I do actually have a lot of this stuff. I try to save. Usually, it doesn't always survive the day.
Yeah.
But maybe I'll pull some other rare treats out. But
and we'll definitely do a pre-show before that fest. It's not till October, which I mean, I say not just. We're halfway through goddamn August.
Yeah, so. I think we'll do we definitely do a pre-show and a post-show.
Absolutely,
kind of a thing to talk about it. But so that's really what I've done beer-wise. Other than Brian came over to the house 2 days ago. We did some great brainstorming. We drank some really great Miller Lights,
definitely,
and some Headies. We did both.
Which brings us to we have started to solicit comments from y'all and questions.
I don't think we got many this time.
We only got 2, okay. But I mean because it was a quick thing. But from now on, every podcast, if you're listening or watching, send us any questions or comments you have.
Anything you want, literally anything,
legit anything, and we will answer those questions to the best of our ability.
Or we'll make something up.
Yep, on the next podcast. For example, because we took a picture of the Miller Lights and the PBRs, or the Miller Lights and the Bud Lights.
But they were Miller. It was Miller and Heady, but the Heady that I had was in a PBR koozie,
Right.
and then my Miller was in my
Dogfish
Yeti that
Yeti.
has my Dogfish sticker on it. So we were sort of doing a little mindfuck thing going on there.
So we have two very similar questions. One's a pretty quick answer from the famous Frosty DG on Instagram and Untapped fame. He goes, "Is Heady Topper really better than PBR? Discuss." But that question sort of implies that
Yeah, so
like someone
this is
has
what we
said
talked
that.
about. Like, so this is like, and it also goes back to, let's just take a name of beer out of it. Can you compare an Imperial Stout against a Roggen beer, for instance,
that's
and
true.
say with any
Yeah.
degree of authority whether one is better or not? You know,
Right.
we can talk about being true to style,
Yeah.
which I know is a big thing in beer judging competitions. But then you look at how many beers don't care about style; they just gonna make a good tasting beer.
Right.
I think beer is a tool, and you have a toolbox or a cooler, and you fill that toolbox with the tools for the job at hand. And this is hearkening to my Uncle Roger, who always said, you get a toolbox and you put your tools in, and you go to the beach, aka put beer in a cooler, go to the
Amazing.
beach. But
Quote.
really, when you think about it, a cooler is just a toolbox, and the beer in it is the tools for the job. And if the job at hand is to drink all day, well, then PBR is better.
Right.
It's just like if I'm hammering nails, I want a hammer, not a screwdriver. Whereas if I'm need a screwdriver, I'd rather have my Heady Topper kind of a thing.
And so the answer to the question is it's up to whoever, because there are for sure a lot of people that the answer to that is yes, because there are a lot of non-hop lovers, especially those that are approaching beer for the first time. Their main complaint is not the alcohol; it's too bitter.
It's bitter. Usually, it's almost always bitter.
And Heady Topper is almost a definition of that. So some people will say yes. We're not going to put it to a vote because I don't want that kind of crowd to come to our to start commenting on
the
this
vote.
shit.
The vote would certainly go Heady,
Right.
But I also question: is that a brand recognition piece? Is it that you're told that Heady is better? Like go to any of the beer rating websites.
Always gonna be
There's
told.
a massive.
Yes.
They're massively impartial towards Imperial Stouts and big IPAs. Like
Right.
it's just the way it is, and so you're told that Heady is better, but realistically, Heady's just. It's has a situation that it's good to drink in. When you're having just two of them and you want to chat and enjoy it, you have a Heady. If you're outside mowing the lawn, Heady might be a little aggressive.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
situational.
true.
It's
Right.
pure. And anybody that, and I'll say this, anybody that doesn't agree that it's situational is too biased to give an opinion.
Case in point, and I'll get back to Peter Eggleston in a second later on another news story. But Peter Eggleston, when I was talking to him about the book New Hampshire Beer, Brewing from Sea to Summit, in stores maybe it's been out. It's
Definitely, Amazon
3-4
sells
years old.
Amazon sells everything.
Talk about a rare find though. Only 25 breweries even existed during the writing of that book.
Wow.
So now there's 60. So I'm not writing
Time for
anymore.
volume 2.
Can't do it. But he mentioned that his main when he started Portsmouth Brewery 25 plus years ago, AB InBev was at their door saying, "We got to sell this." He goes, "No, I'm not going to. I want to sell the beer that I'm making." Thus, the Dirty Blonde was like their official flagship. Like, here's the introduction to beer.
Mm-hmm.
But he also, in the same breath, said, "If I'm at a Red Sox game, it's 95 degrees out. I'm going to reach for a Bud Light or a PBR because that's going to quench my thirst the best than a robust porter.
It's
or
something I can chug.
stout.
I can't chug a robust porter, and
Right.
when I'm sitting out in the sun,
Right.
I need the liquid just as much as I need the everything else in it.
There's a place
So,
and a time.
yeah, it's total time and place.
And so, going off of that PBR question,
Train
the
is
train
a
break, yeah.
train toast.
Cheers.
I just realized people probably think we're crazy because I bet you can't hear the background noises.
Only
so
not as much.
we're
Yeah.
not. There is a real train.
There's a
by
real
the way.
train.
We're not making this
Coming
up.
in hot. So, do you want to crack what we're about to talk about now, or do you want to go like a better beer first?
Well, no. Let's drink these nice ones because I don't know if they're going to be any good.
That's fine. Yeah. Crack
And
one.
so we may just want to dump those.
So I'll let you be the beer opener as I ask the question. Brit's Ski Beers or Brit Ski Beers. Anyway,
That's Brit ski beers.
also on Instagram. Appreciate the comment and the question here. If you were forced, this is kind of like a would you rather kind of. Not really. It's more of a if you would.
Choose your own adventure.
Yeah, exactly. If you were forced to drink Miller Lite or Heady all day nonstop until passing out, which would you choose? Now, what are we going for? Length or like immediate?
I think I think I'm going to go heady on this one.
Okay.
Because I think I would pass out sooner, which would put me out of my misery. Otherwise, Miller, I think I could drink it, or PBR, whatever. I think I could drink it forever.
In this case, it was Miller.
Was it Miller? Okay. I could drink Miller. I don't think I'd pass out. Like, I don't think it'd be possible.
I would say Miller, but I could only because I would assume the hangover from too much heady would be worse. Although I seem to get the biggest hangovers from Bud Light than anything. I don't know why.
One of the worst hangovers I've ever had was actually on Miller High Life.
Really?
The champagne.
No.
But let's put it this way.
Hurts.
I love.
How much was it?
It may have been a case and a half. It could have been a whole keg for all I remember. But I had one of the worst hangovers on that. But then I've also drank it and not had a hangover. So. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, again, to each their own. I would probably go the way of the Miller. You would go the better beer route. But again, better beer is anyone else.
But definitely, I think you guys, any comments, questions, maybe we'll even pose a few questions to the crowd that maybe we can get some feedback on.
Definitely.
We definitely want to make this a crowd-involved session. I think eventually we're going to work on the ability to do some call-ins. I'm dropping that right now.
Absolutely.
We want to maybe eventually get there. So we definitely want to reach out to you guys, the listeners, and have you guys have a say in this because we're both wrong most of the
absolutely.
time. This is completely wrong.
And then either post a comment on this thing, or send us a message through Facebook, whatever. Just get something
even
there.
if you just have to call one of us or send it in the mail to Brian's house, not to my house.
And then in the PO box, nothing. Couldn't come with anything there. But listen, so get comments to us. Usually the day or the day before we plan to do a podcast, we'll get a quick reminder out there to get us. What are you thinking about in the beer world? And we were kind of timely with this whole beer. This whole we're still in this big beer, quote unquote.
Oh, yeah, and now just to be clear from last week, when we talk big beer, we're talking about large brewing companies.
Yeah,
exactly. The evil empire that some will call them. I'm not. Those are not my words. I'm using those.
Exactly.
Words.
No, totally. And so we're talking about that because 2 weeks ago we were talking about the purchase of Sapporo buying. Give it to me.
Anchor.
And then mere 4 or 5 days later, we have two more on the books. One along the same lines, but not necessarily, and then one that's just kind of someone helping out another like great brew pub in a different way. The first big one, kind of along the same lines as the Sapporo Anchor dealio is, and I talked about it. I did a little video about it before, but this is where we'll really try to get into it. This Funky Buddha Brewery. Ever heard of them?
I had heard of them. I honestly, I'd have to go look at Untapped if I'd ever had them. I'm running out of my ability to remember things.
Pretty good logo.
Oh, I like that logo.
I have ideas for next video. I'll put this on the screen. But Funky Buddha Brewery out of Oakland Park, Florida, was recently acquired by Constellation Brands. And you might have heard the name Constellation Brands because in 2015 they acquired stake in Ballast Point. Purchased.
They outrighted them, yeah.
Exactly. So there's no comments as of now. As this article is a week old, but I checked today and there's no updates yet.
I didn't see a lot of updates to a lot of these stories. I think you got to really dig into the fringe to get people's opinions because I'm sure they have them. Yeah.
It said we hear. So this is all from fullpint.com. The link will be in the show notes, or I'll put it in the show notes for this podcast. We hear that while this deal was all but done, Constellation wanted to let the dust settle from the PR nightmares from earlier this summer when Wicked Weed was purchased and Rape Beer. Who's Rape Beer purchased by again?
Wasn't it one of those companies that's controlled by
AB?
Yeah,
because Sam Calhoun came out and said,
remove all our stuff, which was awesome on his part,
definitely.
by the way.
And then the whole Wicked Weed thing, and that was a crazy thing. Wicked Weed being bought by AB InBev because they had a huge, unbelievable beer festival planned for, I think, all the sour beers and all that. Jack's Abbey was going to go there with Springdale, and Allagash was going to go there. And then the week before that festival, they sold, and everyone's like, nope, we're not doing it anymore.
Backed out.
Everyone backed out. So,
which I say is awesome, but that gets back into our big beer. Yeah. This speaking of big beers,
I got goosebumps on the neck on that one.
Yeah, before we get into this, let's just announce what we're drinking so we can suffer through this.
Yeah.
We have a bottle of Founder's Backwoods Bastard, which has a bottle date of 10/12/12 on it.
Okay.
I don't know where I came across this. It may have been left over from my my beer night where we watched From the Earth to the Moon and drank beer and got real drunk as space nuts.
Gotcha.
But 10.2% alcohol by volume. This is their ale aged in oak bourbon barrels. The nose on it is enough to strip the paint off a Foot Locker.
Absolutely.
It is. But
it
I've had
gets
bourbon.
Easier.
It
gets
doesn't
easier.
smell this strong.
I think my nose hairs might be completely erased, but it gets easier. I don't know.
Yeah, it's probably past its prime.
Yeah, maybe.
Also,
It's
feels
super sweet and
Yeah,
not that carbonated.
Yeah, I mean it's super malty, but
Yeah.
it also has that sort of raisiny, like it's probably a bit oxidized.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I don't know. I just want to get rid of it.
I don't know.
Like
Yeah.
this is
No, it's fine. This is the podcast for that crap.
Although we're gonna have to drink this. I poured too much. We're gonna have to drink all this now. You realize that, right? We don't have a dump
That's
bucket
fine.
up
Yeah,
here.
I got to get some paint removed anyway, so I might as well just throw it on the wall, see what happens here. But yeah, Backwoods Bastard. But yes, Funky Buddha acquired by Constellation. No more news on that just yet. But
I mean, this is their. This is what, one of the smaller breweries they've actually bought. I mean,
Yeah, and
because they're responsible for like Corona.
I was just gonna say they acquired a liquor as well. I thought.
Well, yeah, because they were in. I knew they were a beverage, a beverage company. And
Here we go.
is this some of what we have here?
Yes.
Oh, they own Mondavi. Oh, wow.
Yeah, Casa Noble Tequila, Svedka, even.
Ooh, not one of my favorites. Yeah. But, and they're also the ones that bought High West whiskey. So
Okay, yeah, right there.
those of you that know Lagunitas used to do their High Westified stout. It was their big imperial stout aged in High West barrels.
Yeah.
But of course, they saw the writing on the wall that as this was coming down, that they wouldn't probably be able to get access to High West barrels now that Constellation, who was not a competitor but buying competing breweries, bought them up, and so now they don't make High West anymore, the High Westified stout, because they can't get the High West barrels.
Fortune 500 company, founded in 1945. Gotcha.
This is one of those things that started like as a mom and pop shop selling T-shirts out of a cart in New York City or something.
Look at them
and
now.
Turned into something big.
Yeah, Corona, Modelo, Pacifico.
Yeah, I mean those are some serious breweries too.
Right. So that's, we'll see. I don't know, and we were talking about this a little bit at your house, how I don't remember, because it was 2 years ago, and I don't know if there was something big before it or after that happened that made me forget about this, but was there that big of backlash about this specific buyout because it wasn't big beer, or did people just not know how to handle it because it's Ballast Point, and which sure Ballast Point is a very large brand. Mm-hmm. Not a lot of people have access to it yet because it's at random beer stores. You can still find it.
Yeah, so it's basically like I can't buy that, so I don't care,
Right.
or like I've never had it, so I don't care.
Sure.
That's certainly a valid thing.
Which kind of like 10-barrel thing.
Yeah, but this also, again, it goes back to what we talked about. They are, by definition, big beer.
Right.
They're not the
Yeah.
bad. Like it's like this gradients of big beer.
Yep.
But these guys are by definition a big brewing company. But yeah, they also own booze though, so they're diverse. They're a diversified big beer company, and so do people care? I don't know, but I think that one of the I definitely think that Ballast Point suffered
Sure.
after, and maybe it suffered at the same time. But I mean, how many different flavors of Sculpin did they come out with, and how bad did they start to get?
That's true.
Like, I don't know if it was a volume thing. They definitely stopped. They definitely used cheaper ingredients or something because they changed.
Yes, and it all like kind of turned for me when I think it was like pineapple sculpin, like where they started adding the juices and things. It seemed like it was artificial.
Yeah.
I was fine with I was fine with the big three, which I call their big three sculpins was grapefruit, regular sculpin, and their habanero.
Yep.
But
I like
but then
I
after
like
they
the
had a
grapefruit.
mango sculpin, they had a pineapple.
Yeah,
so.
and before long, a boysenberry or a Leganberry. Like who?
Quick pause on that. Boysenberry, Boysenweiss at night shift yesterday.
Yeah. I saw that on your picture.
It
you
was
posted.
it was like murky, like it looked like a crayon. It was like
Yeah.
crushed up. I'm not a big sour guy, but it was really.
I will say
It looked like I didn't want to drink it. It was an art piece.
Night Shift. The first time I ever had them was at the Night of the Funk, the first night of the Belgian Beer Fest.
Oh, wow.
That Beer Advocate did. I don't even know they're bringing it back or
I don't
something.
know if they did it or they do it in Maine now or something.
Yeah, so it was at the Cyclorama, and I think we determined you were there, but not with me.
I volunteered.
Standard. Yeah, you probably poured me my beer. It was back when we didn't like each other. I think.
I was dumping dump buckets.
But they had Everweiss and Summerweiss, and this is a festival that brought in some of the finest funky sour beers in the world. Like, this is mostly non-American, like Belgian, really good stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
And Night Shift, who I had never heard of, had no idea what they were, blew me away. The Everweiss and the Summerweiss were the two best beers I had at that festival, far and away, to the point that I didn't even know they made non-sour beer. And I think maybe the reason why I haven't spent more time with them lately is they started to get away. Not that they got away from it, but they started to broaden their offerings. And I was like, wow, you guys make really good sour beer. Like, I just want to keep drinking that. I don't really care about your other stuff, but I need to care about the other stuff.
I mean, and what's good about them, and we'll go back to the other stuff in a second, but what's good about Night Shift now is they have, I mean, a lot of breweries have like mug clubs and things like that, but they do, I think it's a rare beer club, which is mostly their sour beers.
Yeah, the wood, like it's
worth it, apparently.
The membership card is actually a piece of wood.
Wow.
I looked into it the first year they were doing it.
Get into the club.
The first year they were doing it, I looked into it. It was like $250, and it was basically how they financed some of the expansion.
Oh, it's true.
It was when they were still at the old location. They were looking you to get in. You got, I want to say you got 2 or 4 bottles of like 10 different releases a year. They were doing like 10 of them. And you got the card that was like a thin piece of veneer with something etched on it, and you got to come in and you got like didn't have to wait in line. And
that
all
was when I was
cool
at the old
stuff.
place too,
That's when it started because they were financing. Oh, that place was like
you couldn't park anywhere. First of all,
well, we parked on the street like sort of away, but then you walked through this building that was like what's that movie where they kill everybody in Slovakia?
Oh,
Hostel.
Hostel.
Yeah, it was. I'm pretty sure they filmed Hostel at the old location.
Absolutely.
Which is, and then when Idle Hands was there, I was like, oh god, we have to stay in this building longer. Like, why can't we get out?
Park your car and die.
Yeah, it was. They're doing great stuff.
Yeah. And then when they ended up getting like a Target across the street from the old place, you could park there and walk across the street or something. But yeah. But yes, back to
we were talking about the
Ballast Point.
Not really any backlash.
Yeah, so and I don't remember there being any crazy backlash, but maybe there was. But also like even this, like it's Wicked Weed, I'm sure is now like there's like they said letting the dust settle on the whole thing.
Yep.
The dust is probably settled. People probably, I mean, who knows?
Well, the other thing too is that like it's less than 0.1% of the population of beer drinkers that are probably going to be the ones that flip out. Like,
totally.
Like nobody cares.
Right. And then again, it's selfish New Hampshire person beer drinker talking here. We might get to see Funky Buddha now up here.
Well, exactly.
Or I mean, who knows what that means? Like they could have bought them and then kept it the same. Like especially when in terms of consolation brands where they don't have a brewery. Right?
So let's ask this quick example.
Get it.
Goose Islands when they were purchased by InBev.
Yeah.
Was that a good thing or a bad thing?
That's a tough question.
Here's my reasons why it's a good thing.
Yep.
It now means that you can get Goose Island beer nationwide. And what they did is they took all the they took all the everyday average, the 312s and the IPAs and the whatever else they brewed, and they brewed them at the regional bud facilities. And so you know what they do in Chicago now? They do a lot of Bourbon County Stout.
All the sours.
They do a lot more of that specialty stuff.
That's
and
true.
Look at how much more accessible Bourbon County Stout is now.
That's
like
true.
That used to be like unheard of to find. And now it's. I mean, not that it's easy. It's not like buying Bud Light, but. No. I've never not been able to get it, and we get it here in New Hampshire now.
Right.
And there's the tap accounts. Like you can get it on tap now, no problem. Whenever they release it each year, you just get it. It's fine.
And I think for what it's worth, Goose Island was pretty well distributed before. But it's good that like even like my non-beer drinking friends saying, "Oh, have you tried the Goose Island IPA or the 312?" I'm like, it's cool hearing that name again from people because then it helps like myself get reintroduced to Goose Island, which again, fine beers, but they took over some of the automation for this making this beer consistent and in mass, which is fine, like mass production. It's fine.
It's all about how it's done. Again, if you acquire a brewery that makes a beer, like every brewery has a beer that keeps the doors open, you know, and if you can buy them and now make that beer that keeps the doors open elsewhere, it frees them up to do all the awesome stuff they really want to do.
That was probably the biggest. Like I know we must have been podcasting during this, but I remember just the backlash of like what in the hell's going on in beer right now with Goose Island. Like of all things. But then
I
again,
heard
it's
there
like
was also something about the owner at the time too. Like, didn't the owner go nuts?
I was like, he partied too hard or something because he had
yeah.
all this money or something. It was very
There
it was a very weird
something,
thing.
There was something
Yeah.
bad about it. But imagine
man.
imagine going back in time and thinking, "Oh my God, beer's over," and thinking nowadays,
Yeah.
Lagunitas sold out. Like
God.
it happens.
So we'll as we've discussed privately, we'll probably have a every week check in on these buyouts or
I mean,
whatever
I think
they are.
we were joking that we're going to have to make this a regular segment,
Yeah.
and then this stuff popped up. So absolutely, this is our new thing.
Is that really Magnolia's logo?
The top right is their logo.
Oh, so what's this?
So that's their.
This
That's
is great, great for radio.
Well, that's the Haight Street logo. So they have two facilities.
Oh, okay.
They have the original Haight Street Brew
Okay.
Pub, and
Yeah.
then they have the Smokestack location, which is where their big brewing is. So the Magnolia Brewing one on the right, which again, Brian will post this so you guys know what the
Actually,
hell we're talking
do
about.
you want to talk a little bit about it for a second?
Yeah. Yeah. We're talking about what?
Magnolia.
Oh, all right. So those of you that don't know, Magnolia Brewing started as a brew pub in the Haight-Ashbury area of San Francisco. Amazing place. They have a 7-barrel system and hardly any seating, but it's that place that everybody's standing in line to go through. They're known for their bitters. They have actually won I don't even know how many medals for their different bitters. Bonnie Lee's Best Bitter, I think, is their biggest beer. But in addition to that, they have the brew pub thing going, or gastropub actually, I think is as their logo says. Their food is top notch. I don't think I've ever been to a place that has the quality of food with the quality of beer that they have every time. I've had pretty much everything on the menu, and it's fantastic. The nearest sort of local thing that I could think of is honestly something like the Portsmouth Brewery, although they're less gastropubby. They do cook all their own food, and they're not like heating stuff out of bags. And you can always get something good there. But Magnolia by far is top notch. They expanded to the Smokestack neighborhood in San Francisco, which would be sort of south, like even down further south in AT&T Park. And they have like a barbecue joint in there now, and they've got more of a production brewery that they've been working on there. And I don't believe they have mass distribution. It's a local thing.
Yeah, I tried getting I'll work on it for next time, but to get some of these articles on the screen. But I wanted to show you the logo up in the
yeah,
show
we'll
notes.
put that in there. But
It's pretty bad.
fantastic place. Like to sort of lead into some of the story, they apparently declared bankruptcy in 2015, which is appalling to me. Like, I understand that price structures and costs in San Francisco are high, but a place that's putting out that good a quality product, their beer, awesome, their food, awesome, nicest people working there. Like, it's just a super pleasure to go there. How a place like that could declare bankruptcy, maybe it's financial mismanagement, who knows? Yeah. But it better not be because people weren't patronizing them, because that place is great.
Yeah, and it's so. I
don't think patronizing is the right word. That's the right.
No,
they're they're not.
Yeah,
they're being patrons. If you're not there being patrons, let's get that right.
Because how's a brewery success or a place successful if they're patronizing them? No, but yes. But luckily they're in good hands now. And I only zoned out a little bit. But did you mention New Belgium and Dick Cantwell?
No.
Okay.
So I did not get that far.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So the coming to the rescue of this place, kind of in a very other side of the other side of the scale.
Unexpected,
which is great, but it's not big beer. It's large beer.
It's middle. It's big. It's big craft. It's big craft.
It's big craft in a couple ways. So New Belgium is stepping in to take over some of the financials and acquiring them, along with was it Oud
Beersel?
Oud Beersel. They're to be minority partners, but also Elysian founder Dick Cantwell
is coming in to brew.
Yes, coming in to rescue, which is great. If for those that don't, we don't get Elysian out here. I don't think it maybe Mass. I don't even know.
I don't know.
We might now though because of this. So back in whatever time
they were bought by
2015. So 2015 was a big year. So.
I think that was probably the start, right? I mean, Goose Island was before that. Goose Island was definitely the first one.
So in 2015, Anheuser-Busch acquired Elysian, and then the head brewer or the brewmaster at that time, Dick Cantwell, scooted. He's like, "Nah, I'm good." So who knows what
makes sense.
who knows what was going on there? But now, when I was reading it a couple weeks ago or last week, it was just I knew the name sounded familiar, but it's cool that someone from Seattle is going to come
He's
down.
now getting back into it, I guess.
He's in, so it's good to see him back there. So
And it's also worth noting Dave McLean, the founder of Magnolia, is staying with the company.
Oh yes, okay. Nice.
He is. They've said several times that he's going to be an employee of the new company, which is so awkward the way they're putting it. It makes it sound like a dig at him.
Yeah.
But he is sticking around, which I think is awesome.
And just a quick quote from Executive Chair of New Belgium, Kim Jordan. She says, "We've been looking for ways to diversify our assets and expand our community." So they're getting big. That's big craft. That's a big craft quote right there.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you think about, I could pull up an article that says in 2015, New Belgium was actively shopping themselves.
Yep.
And they'd never quite found the right buyer.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's great. I have always been a huge fan of New Belgium. As first time I ever had them was maybe 10-ish years ago when I was out in the Minneapolis area traveling for work. And, what is this Fat Tire stuff? It was super popular, super big, and I thought it was great. Just like any other big craft beer, I don't drink their flagships much anymore.
Right,
Other than Sierra Pale Ale, I still drink pretty regularly.
Yep.
And then when I first went out to New Belgium in 2011 and had one of the most amazing tours ever and actually got to meet Jeff Lepsch. Oop, that's a new beer being opened.
Oh, that's a peek on the mic. I got you.
Got to meet the founder of New Belgium, Kim Jordan's ex-husband. He was an awesome guy, and that place is amazing. So I am a huge fan of New Belgium. I hope that whatever struggles they went through that got them sort of shopping themselves 2 years ago are finally over. Obviously, if they're buying people, I think that's that's a good sign.
Well, yeah, that and it's also it's interesting that I wonder. I don't know what obviously haven't disclosed the price.
Oh no, it did. I saw 2.7 million.
Oh really?
So
they're still doing fine. And we were talking about New Belgium in a couple days ago.
Yeah.
And I wonder how they were doing in their new space. New Hampshire was, I think, either the last or the second to last state to complete all 50.
They're finally nationwide. Yep.
But from what I understand, from just ear to the ground, going to beer festivals and seeing New Belgium's line, I don't think the beer crowd is reacting as well as they thought. From what I've heard from random distributors, again, it is what it is. It was a very, very awesome couple 3-4 weeks
launch, but
great launch. But I was up with my own eyes at the Loon Festival and it's a New Hampshire Brew Fest up in Loon Mountain, and no line. So the guy just standing there. So I don't know. Are we not used to them because we just haven't had them?
Yeah. So here's my perception. So I've seen them on tap several places now. Only Fat Tire though. I've also
the Clementine one I've seen a couple times.
Oh, you know what? I think I saw that.
Like all I see.
I saw that on the list at Thirsty Moose.
Yeah.
I've not been into a beer store of any repute in a while. I've been to crappy ones.
Shout out to Prost. That's the go-to.
Exactly. I don't know what they're offering in the state right now, New Belgium-wise. I will say that I have seen many people order a Fat Tire while at the bar.
Okay.
And I spend some time at bars.
Yeah.
And a lot of people said, yeah, give me the Fat Tire. I don't recall people getting more than one, but I also don't necessarily recall people not getting,
How many taps was that the Moose you're talking
No,
about?
this is at the Gaslight, actually.
Okay, so there's a relative, you can still see it.
They have
Because
8 at 12? No,
Gaslight
is 12 on tap.
So you can at least
and people
see
like
it
to
on
do
one
that.
page,
I'll take they do
That's
the point.
That's good.
My opinion is this
because what is it taking over? So you go first.
I think it's that the average consumer isn't familiar with them.
Sure.
And so right now, when we've talked about too, is these choices, when we have 8,000 choices at the store, what do I pick?
Yep.
They're another new, it's another new brewery without any regard for, no, they're the third or the fourth largest.
Especially in New Hampshire for sure.
I think that's what it is. That's my guess.
And again, it's like we're exceptions to the rule. We will pay attention to the news, not just because of what we're doing now, but we hear that in the circles we run in. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it would be like if I was the lower than average beer consumer who doesn't really care. But why are they picking Fat Tire?
But also
from their travels somewhere and they've seen it before. Is it familiar?
It's the only. They got a cool tap handle. I mean, we can probably debate tap handles all day.
We will get. We should get some and just bring them in here. And
Oh, absolutely. But I think they have a cool tap handle,
Yeah.
which I think definitely attracts the person that doesn't know it. Or it could be that there is some recognition there. You know, they are well distributed everywhere else in the country. I mean, I want to say, Chicago West, you could get them no problem for a long time,
Definitely,
since '94 or whatever.
Yep.
So maybe you've got some slight name recognition, and people are a little nostalgic. Like I ordered one. Let's put it that way. I hadn't had a Fat Tire in a couple of years, and I've had Fat Tire at the source, but I was like, give me a Fat Tire. It's a little malty for me now.
I was saying because it's not it's an amber base, but it's like a Belgian.
It's Belgian. Yeah, so it is all based around.
But to have that as like as a flagship alone is crazy for what they started. But
I agree, and I think this goes back to another conversation we had, which I think we were afraid that this podcast would be all about talking about what we already talked about.
But that's fine.
But we'll talk about it. If we look at the big three in my eyes in craft brewing are Sierra, New Belgium, and Boston Beer, Sam Adams. They're the big three. Like I think people will put somebody else up there now. That one that you couldn't get,
Oscar Blues.
The one that you just finally get in Massachusetts a couple years ago. The one everybody swears by. I don't remember the name of it.
Yeah, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Yuengling.
Yeah, Yuengling.
Yeah.
Which you can see how my interest in it is.
It's
I mean, Yuengling's
that was
it's okay.
Like no, but that launch alone was like it almost brought Massachusetts to a halt.
Yeah, which
But
goes
also got a lot of people, got a lot of distributors in trouble because of all the tactics they used to get that beer everywhere.
So yeah, there's two things that I want to talk about here. Is that if we look at those big three craft beer guys, which again to me have always been the big three craft beer.
Yep.
Fat Tire's the weakest of the three flagship beers. Like Sierra Pale Ale is undisputedly the top flagship beer in craft.
Yeah.
Right? Like no brewery.
I would say
brewery's flag Topper.
No. I would add to your second big three, Boston Lager.
Well, Boston Lager's second.
But I'm saying, that's probably the closest it will come. But yeah, you're saying no craft, like no smaller crafts.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is that Sierra Nevada. Yeah. If we look at Boston Beer, New Belgium, and Sierra.
Yep.
Sierra Pale Ale is by far the best of those three. So if we're looking at Fat Tire, we're looking at Boston Lager, we're looking at Sierra Pale. Sierra Pale is leaps and bounds better than those other two.
Yeah, and
then Boston,
you can easily recognize like the label no matter what because it's everywhere.
And just from a quality,
totally too.
Maybe too because I like it better.
No.
Quality's not my word. Quality's the wrong word. I like it better. So for me, and whether it be stylistically or whatever, I think, I think though that maybe the average beer person will say that Boston Lager is better because it has better recognition. Boston Lager's got much wider recognition, but to me, it's Sierra, Boston Lager, and then Fat Tire. As far as those threes,
right. Absolutely.
But on the flip side, if I was to say brewery, I would probably say Sierra, New Belgium, Boston.
Yeah.
I would put New Belgium higher because of their other offerings.
And in the past few years, the only brewery trying to not reinvent themselves, but also try to add more labels and more styles to their portfolio is Boston Beer Company. Coming out with it started with all the Funky Barrel stuff. They started doing that, but then they started doing the cans.
They finally released an IPA.
Totally, that Rebel was because that's what got them.
Pretty good.
But that's what Lagunitas and them got into that little back and forth of their IPA.
I mean, it's no Lagunitas, and it's neither of the Sierras, but I mean, it's still passable IPA.
And the problem though I have with Sierra, and it's not really a problem. It's like I just want more from them. Is yes. Their pale ale is the most recognized big craft beer out there. I don't really know what else they have besides their seasonals, be it the Celebration or the Tumbler.
Celebrate. That's the one we couldn't remember.
I think it was Tumbler. Okay, either way.
Yeah. But also, and they do have the hop oil one in the gray.
I don't even know. But so
then Torpedo. Yeah, I mean
Torpedo is because that was the can.
I remember the first time I had Torpedo. Somebody took me to Gary's. This was still early on in my beerdom, and they're like, "Yeah, Torpedo's the best, man." And I've agreed ever since.
So it's tough because I can list off Sam Adams beers for days, obviously because they're here and whatever. But when you say Sierra Nevada, it's like Sierra Nevada Pale, no problem.
Good point.
Only Bigfoot because I point to it because we're gonna have that in a second. But only Bigfoot because it's usually at the bigger like the Black Fridays at York River Landing and like
Yep.
like the bigger
Yeah,
tap things.
it's definitely one of those more accessible specialty bigger beers, and so it gets around easier.
And it's a flagship for sure, but it is also one that will carry that company forever because it's good. But when you went to Sierra, did you
I'm pulling up the pictures right now. I'm trying to find what was on tap there.
I wonder if like if you get there, because even when I was in San Fran, like I don't know
what was on tap.
Oh,
So
nice. Yeah, because what do they have?
And again, a more conversation I think we talked about.
Yeah.
Is when I got there for the first time. This was in 2012 that I first went there. And I don't think I realized it till I got there, but the point you just made is, oh yeah, they make a whole ton of other beer. Like, I didn't know it. So I'll send you this picture to post. This was 2012. They had a Summerfest. This was May. I was there.
Sure. Yeah.
Old Chico Crystal Wheat.
Whoa.
They had the draft style pale ale, which is different, by the way. I've never got an answer on what's different about it, but the draft style pale ale, they had Bigfoot,
That one. Oh, yeah.
Hoptimum Imperial IPA.
yeah.
You've heard of that
Yeah.
one? We
Yeah.
do get that one.
Is that the one with the? Yeah. Gotcha.
Off Kilter Scotch Ale.
Okay. Yep.
They had Torpedo, and then they had an Abbey Double that was the Ovila, the other brand name that they have.
That's funny because like I've heard all of those and I've seen them, but it's just like they're not as recognizable.
You don't think about it. Just like they make a porter.
Okay,
You know,
yeah.
and then are they the ones that make Narwhal, the stout?
You're right.
See, we just totally blew our whole
Yeah.
argument
So
right
no,
there.
but
you don't see those.
But that's good though because in order to like figure that out, you have to talk through it. And of course, Narwhal, like yeah, and obviously I've seen the Olivia or however it is called, but it's the recognizable green label gold Sierra Nevada that you like. That's the pale ale, and there's nothing else. And otherwise, you'll see a picture of like the Celebration Christmas and all that. But real quick, what we're drinking right now, though.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to the guy to.
Sip of Sunshine. This shout out goes out to Steve Mower again, who helped us with the laptop and gave us a couple cans of Sip of Sunshine today because he knows I like beer and loves to talk and chat about it. He's like, I don't really have any headies to give you. He was disappointed by that fact, which I was like, we had some at home.
Yeah.
We had some the other day.
It's fine. We have Miller Lights. It's fine.
Sip of Sunshine, from Lawson's. I don't really think it needs an introduction.
Nope. It's in Maine too now. So
it is. But also, did you hear the news that he's building a brewery?
yes, I did
So-
finally instead of that shack and wherever.
So the Secret Shack. I know one person that's been to the Shack. I
Really, in
won't
Warren?
I won't tell you his name because then you
Right.
might kill him to find out where the Shack is because they've done a pretty good job of hiding it. But Lawson's is expanding, building their own facility. I believe this Sip of Sunshine's been brewed. It's been contract
It's in
Uh,
brewed at
Connecticut.
Two Roads.
Two Roads in Connecticut. Yeah, which they also do a bunch. They do Peak. They do a bunch of others. I forget what. But yeah,
Wouldn't it be awesome to have a brewery this day and age that had so much free capacity you could contract brew all this great stuff for people,
and so
or not
yeah.
have a brewery that's
so
full?
You're starting to see that in small doses here. Like Seven Settlements contracting Great North is canning Seven Settlements brown ale. So they have a separate kettle for Seven Settlements brown because they have the extra space, but also Ironheart can in the same day get Great North can Seventh because Seven Settlement, it's how you got to get Ironheart canning up there. Up those
Yeah, you
stairs.
can't. So basically, they're creating like a canning center, like,
Absolutely
of sorts.
Yeah, which is if it works business wise for both ends.
How
fine.
awesome though! Just think about the mobile canning industry. Like, how amazing is it that
Hot exclusive news though, right here, in case you don't know. And I talked about Mystic before, but they too. We talked to Brian Greenhagen years ago on the Seacoast Beverage Lab podcast, and they're very Belgian inspired, obviously with the farmhouses and the quads and all that. But they do have an IPA. It's called Danger double IPA.
perfect name?
And it is a double IPA, not a New England style IPA. So
okay.
So
I still challenge your ability to define a New England style.
So
IPA.
the only way I would define it is I literally stood there for a while holding it up like at the light, and I couldn't see through it, but it wasn't that orange juicy bullshit that you get from every other brewery.
Which, by the way, I'll finish your story. And then
No.
I'll say my-
But he said that this obviously the IPA is popular, but they are getting Ironheart in to come can that. So I wish I could like Back to the Future take a time warp back to coming up with the idea of Ironheart because they're everywhere. they're in Mass. They're in New Hampshire. They're doing big things.
I know, like I remember reading about these ideas, and imagine if the can hadn't taken over. Like you can't do
That's
mobile
true.
bottling.
Right.
Like you can't. That just
and
doesn't
all
work.
and all that started with almost Sierra Nevada was like, we're doing cans now because it's better to hike
Well,
up the Sierra Nevadas with.
I would actually give that to Oscar Blues.
Give it to them. For sure.
I
But they've
believe
been canning forever though. Yeah.
They only can.
So yeah.
So that's the other
right.
thing. As far as I and
So
and
they
since then,
probably-
there's been plenty of places
yeah.
that have only canned.
Yep.
But Oscar Blues is the only canner. But I'm going to show you this picture, and then we can post this in the notes.
Yeah.
My brother just sent me that picture. Is that a New England IPA?
Is that at IHOP?
Do you know where he is? Can you guess?
Can I look at? Is that Navarre?
No.
No, God, no.
He's in Colorado, okay? So
Okay.
New England style
Oh,
IPAs.
no, they've gone West
he's,
Coast.
He's at Trinity Brewing.
Son of a.
This is either the Lemon Haze or the Turbid Brett IPA aged with lemon.
Okay.
So we just had to give Timmy a shout out there
Shout
as we're
out.
talking about. He literally mid-show is texting me pictures of beers.
Was he having breakfast? Was that orange juice? Screw that.
It looks like orange juice.
But yeah, so I Ironheart is killing the game. So even in New England, there's the company that would set up all the brewers. I forget the name, and I had it. Mike LaCharity used to own Baxter, but then ended up starting up his own company where they just fill or blueprint breweries and bring in the kettles.
This design and sell
Yeah,
that kind of
yeah.
thing.
So, but like companies like that, where like they take kind of the not the guesswork, but just take some of that. You can now have, instead of having a can, like a canning line in your brewery, you can now have another tank, and then the canning will come to you.
Yep.
Get in and out.
Exactly.
I know that's what Neighborhood does. Deciduous the same. Like Ironheart, it helps the smaller brewers get beer out there.
Absolutely.
So
and
maybe
why?
we got to get them. I mean, what are we doing here? We should get them on. And
Oh, that would be awesome
Yeah.
because I love
have them bring some. We'll homebrew a batch.
Yeah,
and we'll call them.
bring the van down, get it.
That'd be amazing live video.
I
Can you can 5 gallons for us, please?
that, or we could go to wherever they're canning.
Done.
Maybe.
Oh my
I
God.
think that's a great idea,
Yeah.
and I like the idea of getting exposure to some of these. I don't want to call them fringe elements, but like the unseen heroes,
Right, and you like if you have a can, you don't know like if you don't know it's probably done at the brewery. If it's not, then like that's the cool thing.
One of the coolest conversations I've had, at a brewery meeting people was actually at that first time I went to New Belgium. It was the week of GABF, Great American Beer Festival. So like the world of beer descends on the greater Denver area. And we were sitting at an industry party at New Belgium next to these guys in the keg leasing business. And we spent probably 45 minutes just discussing the economics and business of keg leasing. They're like, yeah, like 5 years ago, there was a keg shortage, which we didn't know about as consumers. Nobody, I mean,
Right, yeah,
you got beer.
Yeah, we don't own restaurants.
It's very similar to the many years ago, the hop shortage.
Yes.
Where I
Yeah.
know like Boston Beer like gave up like 5 or 10% of their hops
Yeah.
to small breweries.
Yeah.
Same kind of thing. They're like breweries couldn't get kegs. They couldn't get, and we were like blown away. I'm like, I've never talked to a guy that leases kegs before. And I don't think they were with MicroStar or one of those. They were like a smaller operation that did it, but amazingly interesting. So the same thing with the canning. Like I would love to hear the stories about like how you got started and like who even comes up with that idea. Like how much beer do you have to drink
I know.
to be like, let's start canning.
Those are the best ideas. Is like
We don't have a brewery though.
And I think when Ben and I were over at like kind of going off that thing where the best ideas come over drinking, when Ben and I were over at North Country Cider in Rollingsford talking to Silas and Ron is that if the podcast is there, you guys should listen if you haven't, if you're new to the show. But we were talking to Ron and Silas, and they said that most of their ideas come from just drinking lots of cider or beer and like discussing what would be a good recipe
and it's
like
the
making
stupidest,
small
it's the
batches.
stupidest idea always.
But it's also like
it starts out.
It's
that
like
way.
having a whiteboard and just like throw something up there, and if it sticks, it doesn't have to be wild and like
No.
like crazy. It can just
And
be whatever.
Sometimes it has to evolve. Like sometimes you have. That's why like you should never discount like the stupid
No.
air quotes ideas. Like try it out because you never know what may come. How many things that have been invented were mistakes.
Right.
Maybe you'll screw up that bad idea
The
and
light
it'll
bulb,
be
no,
something amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man. So I don't want this. I mean, this will be a news podcast. If there's a slow week between us, like if we didn't do much,
Which is, I guess, this week.
it's this.
I have
well,
nothing
no,
to add.
it's not a slow week news wise considering the 2 buyout acquisitions. But the 2 other notable news.
I have a third one to add to that. 2 other notables
Sweet. So, but the only one that's kind of worth mentioning. The rest, I mean, the other one's
as well.
awesome.
Quick mentions.
Yeah, quick mention is the brewery. Have you been?
No, I've not been to San Diego. They are on my
Brewery.
list, though. Yeah, BRUERY.
Yeah.
They are on my list. Their sour stout, which the name is escaping me. It's got a purple label right now. one of the sour stouts that I enjoy.
Yeah.
And there are other beers. I think, like, offhand, their stuff looks weirder than it is. Like they are
true.
all about like these bizarre. Like they just in the same announcement as this, there was one about some sort of like cherry vanilla stout
Jesus.
or whatever, which sounds horrible. But these are the kind of guys that do it right. Like every time you think of a guy idea that's like, oh, that's a horrible idea. These are the guys that prove you wrong by doing it right.
And it's so and going back to like previous discussions of Kate the Great and Long Lines and stuff. One of their biggest beers is Black Friday.
Yep,
that's the beer that they come out with.
And there's a variance of that too. Are
there different?
I believe they've done variants. And Tart of Darkness is the one I couldn't.
That's what it is.
Tart of Darkness is the
Tart
one
of
I couldn't think of.
Yeah.
That is a great sour stout.
So they're coming a little bit more to the East Coast, but not as I initially thought when I first posted this. But it's still an interesting read. Is they're opening up their own store in Washington D.C. So a beer store just for the brewery.
I saw this headline, but I didn't read the article, so I'll ask stupid questions.
Yeah.
Is it? It's literally like a bottle shop.
It's a bottle shop in DC. It seems like it's. I don't know if it's anything like Pike's Place Market, like in Seattle, like a marketplace. But I don't know if Union Market is something else. But it looks like just like a pop up beer store.
And
for
it's
them.
going to sell their stuff and others,
I think just their stuff.
Okay,
but
which is
and their brands maybe. But it's
that's an interesting idea, like,
especially in DC too, because DC you have Blue Jacket is one of the breweries I can think of off the top of my head. That's it.
So when I was in DC, we went to Church Key, the beer bar, which was stellar. The food also was amazing. Really cool location too, where they're at. But I never got the idea that that's a beer city. Like I don't. That's like a Johnny Blue Label.
Yeah,
kind of city.
And so the DC might have been a pick because of this quote right here. Is the brewery store at Union Market District provides a central location for fans along the East Coast to get their hands on all three of our brands under one roof. So, I guess if you look at it that way, DC is
a tourist. Well, DC is also it's centrally located. It's an hour and a half flight from here, which is amazing.
Yeah,
by the
that's
way.
actually bad.
And I guess it is a tourist destination. Like,
yeah. So so their three brands as listed at the top are blah blah blah. The brewery, Tarot, and Offshoot Beer Company.
Oh, see, I didn't know either of those other two.
Did I?
But we'll have to look into those. But yeah, they make great products. Know them by name more than by experience. I've definitely had some of their stuff. They had a beer called Ruse, which was spelled like goose, but with an R.
Okay.
That was sort of their play on a goose. I didn't age it long enough. They do the bigger bottles. They're bigger than these ones.
They're corked too.
Yeah,
No.
they're definitely capped, but they use the big cap. So these standard caps don't fit. So I think they cap a wine, like a full wine bottle, basically.
Sure. Yeah.
Which is a nice little difference. And their labels are great. I mean, like I said, I know them more by reputation than by experience, but.
So good for them. Good for them. Yeah. So if you're in DC, I closed it before I could tell you when they open, but they'll be there. Just another quick hit. I saw that this came up on the same article or the same website, beerpulse.com. Bud Light marketers are shifting some focus, and now they're starting to get into like what's actually in beer. So some of the latest ad campaigns are focusing on the big four, the water, the barley, or excuse me, the water,
the
hops.
Reinheitsgebot over here.
Yeah, but also in this picture right here, it says barley, water, rice, and hops.
Oh God, here we go.
It's like I almost don't want to even I don't want to post this picture because
this goes. Let's
look at that.
Let's talk a little bit about the again something we talked about the other day is the definition of craft beer. Like, why is it that you can only put ingredients that enhance the flavor? Maybe you need an ingredient that doesn't enhance the flavor. Like maybe some rice. Rice cheapens it. Whatever. Like again, it's
right there, center of the screen. That's what we're talking about right here.
Yeah.
So right here it says rice. Like what the? Like honestly though, huh? Because wait, it's
yeast. They took yeast out.
I mean, see, yeah.
So but as lager brewers, as lager brewers, they can because the lager yeast doesn't add anything other than clarity. You get no flavor out of a lager yeast. But like, I have a problem with this because it takes yeast out of the equation.
It's true.
Which is
alcohol.
Let's put it this way. No. Why don't you take some hops and some rice and some barley and soak it in water and tell me how enjoyable that is to drink? They take a key ingredient out, and that's why I hate it. It's not that they added rice. You know what? add a fifth ingredient. Be like, our beer has 5 ingredients instead of 4.
Yep.
Like,
yeah, right, yeah.
like
Well, that's
do
kind
it.
of, that's kind
Do
of
it the right way.
That's kind of like a Grains of Paradise situation, which is
don't
it's
even,
like,
don't
we're
even
not-
get me started.
Yeah,
on
so
that one.
we're not getting back to the big craft here, but the link that will be in the show notes also has the video that they're talking about, and they aired these commercial spots during a Denver Broncos Chicago Bears game. So
And you know what? They're not lying, at least with it. Like,
No,
yeah, we got rice in there. Like, I don't know. I'm
quick paragraph over here though. Brewing a light lager like Bud Light isn't easy, but I mean, I'm reading it like I know it, but I get it. I know what they're going for. Bud Light brewmasters take pride in knowing they make the hardest style of beer to brew, using 4 essential ingredients: barley, rice, water, and hops. Throughout the 30-day brewing process, Bud Light is tasted and tested for quality more than 100 times, which
is like 92 too many. Like,
for sure.
Is your process that bad? You're that worried about it?
Every batch, yeah. So with brewmasters consistently checking the quality and taste so more tasting is happening. So they're potentially more than that. But yeah, so that's
So you know what? I'll throw my one comment on this and then I'll stop.
yeah, get in there.
My beer mentor Anthony Cormier, shout out to him.
Big shout out.
Yeah, we got to
Gotta
get
miss that
Anthony.
guy.
We got to get Anthony on this
Yes.
show. He always said, and he's the one I've homebrewed with primarily. You know, I homebrewed my first batch and everything with him. Is if you can brew a pilsner perfect,
Yeah.
several times in a row, you've mastered brewing, because there's nowhere to hide. Like, oh, I screwed up my IPA. Well, dry hop it some more.
God.
I screwed up my stout. Throw it in some oak. Like,
Yeah.
oh, you can fix it. What are you going to fix in a pilsner?
Nothing.
How do you fix it? I guess you
wait,
turn it into something else.
So you're saying if I see a hoppy pilsner on the menu,
It's somebody screwed up.
is that a brown sugar situation like in Lagunitas?
Probably.
All right, good.
But exactly. Like, so I won't dispute that statement.
Yeah.
It's hard to do it at the volume they do it, and especially the fact that they choose to do that beer. And
Lagering is very specific too.
Yeah.
So like
Lagering's a different animal.
It is a different animal, yes, but also that statement kind of, you could look at it either way, but it kind of discounts a lot of other hardest to brew. But
hardest to brew at the scale they do,
Sure.
at the consistency
absolutely,
that they do.
with a lot of temperature control and all that, because you need that in a lager. Sure.
Yep.
I've homebrewed stouts, and those are some of the easiest beers I've ever made. But brewing even the pale ales and the IPAs and the ambers is like. They're easy, but you need, like, when you taste it at the end, you're like, shit, I missed
And
this
so
step
let's
or
put it this way.
something.
Yes, some of those are easy because, again, with like the IPAs, if there's some variance in color, who really cares? Like,
Right.
anybody that like gets picky over color, just shut up.
Wait, never mind.
Which
Never
I said that, didn't I? God damn it.
Never mind, Rick Bruce. Oh, my
there's
God.
there's that. You know, anybody that's like super picky about some of those homebrew batches and things, like just shut up. But
totally.
to do the quality that they can do like that, I've always defended it.
And it'd be interesting. I have no idea how we would even track this down, but to get a can of Bud Light from each of the breweries.
So I tried to do that with the Red Hooks when I went out to Seattle,
sure,
but then I
sure.
found out that the Red Hook Brewery in Seattle is not in Seattle. It's kind of
in
far
Woodland
away.
Farms, yeah. I say Woodland Farms. It's
Yeah, that's
Woodland.
I don't know. Woodland Farms is a brewery
Yeah.
in Kittery.
I was just there
But,
last weekend.
I think we could definitely do it with Bud stuff. At least a couple of them, because
That's the name of this podcast.
Bud
is
stuff.
Bud stuff.
Because we obviously have one here in New Hampshire, and I think the next closest one is, I don't know, New York or something. Like,
Yeah.
we'll look into that, and we'll figure that out. Or we could do like we do Harpoon too.
Yeah, actually,
That'd be a cool
Yeah.
like local
Yeah.
smaller guy.
Yeah.
Although they do,
Just gotta make sure that they bottle, like we have the.
they make a really good point of telling you though, when you take the tour at Windsor, that we make the water here identical to Boston City water. And my hand immediately
that's
went up,
still
and I
fine.
was like, "Why the hell would you want to do that?" And they're like, "Well, that's where we started, so that's what we have to do."
So you mean Quabbin water is what you mean?
Yes, exactly. The Quabbin Reservoir.
Shout out to Western Mass.
Yeah, Brian loves Western Mass.
Love the Quabbin.
Finish your beer so we can pour.
sorry,
the next
yeah,
one. Yeah. He's nursing it. For those of you not on the
Speaking of nurses, no, we don't have a terrible segue. So I was listening to another podcast. Shout out to the Tap Panel Show, another beer focused podcast. They recently had Peter Eggleston on, talking about him earlier, and he had mentioned that the Northampton brewery, the brewery that him and his sister started, in Northampton, Massachusetts, just celebrated its 30th anniversary. 30 friggin' years.
30 years.
It's crazy. And if you go to the brewery now, and I'm going this weekend, I can't wait.
I've never been, actually.
It's awesome. We will be doing
So
you, me, and Ben are doing a Western Mass road
But
show.
also, we're gonna take you to Ebenezer's another time too. Because
absolutely.
You've never been there.
I know.
So
Yes,
that's the one thing I can lord over you.
Pretty sure Ebenezer's might have a little leg up on Northampton Brewery, but it's what's great about Northampton Brewery is seeing the similarities that you see from between that and Portsmouth.
Well, because
Brewery.
they have the Black Cat stout.
They have the Black
and-
Cat, but it's a lot of the they've recently Northampton's changed some of its look to kind of not
thematically or similar.
I think it's just to freshen it up, but it did look a lot like Portsmouth Brewery. But congrats to Northampton Brewery and Janet Eggleston for the 30 years.
Yeah,
which
that's
means
awesome.
In I think it's 4 or 5 years' time, is Portsmouth Brewery going to be celebrating that? Too.
Yeah, because their 20th was 2011.
So that means that
we have
25 was
four
just
years.
Yeah, so maybe we'll be there live broadcasting.
I mean, I was there
In
for the
front of
20th.
millions.
I was there for the 20th.
I was there for
It was
22.
great.
I got two glasses downstairs for that, and that's when they had their big growlers, like the weird
Oh, they did.
Oh, yeah, I'll show.
So I don't
it's
remember those, but
downstairs.
I
They were
unfortunately
huge swing top, like 64-ounce ones that I paid way too much for.
I unfortunately have lost the majority of my 20th anniversary glassware. It didn't survive. I do have two of the taller, what I would have in earlier years called a Pilsner style glass, but I don't know if that's right. It's the taller sort of footed ones.
Yeah.
That was actually when they introduced different glasses. All they had were the standard, like they had the shaker pints, the imperial pints, and the bubbles.
Yes.
And they added glassware at that time
Because
with
they
the
definitely
new
had
logos.
they added the tall flutes for
tall
sure
flutes,
for Pilsners, yeah, but that was awesome.
And then they added the different, like the non-bubbly. You remember they added the ones that they weren't like wide like the bubbles, but they were tall. And
Yeah,
sort of, They put the
yes, yeah,
the-
it's almost like you see like a Stella or something. Not
no, it's very much like a Stella
Okay.
glass. Yep.
Yeah,
But they don't scrape the top, which is so stupid.
If I had a brewery, no.
Yeah, I'd have a knife to scrape the top off my beer.
Get out of here. But yeah, so shout out to them. That's kind of the newsy stuff.
I've got one little.
Yeah.
piece
So
to
yeah,
add
what
to
did you
that,
have?
too.
Yeah.
I saw that Green Flash opening.
Oh yeah,
Another facility in Nebraska.
Nebraska. Do you know why?
I didn't honestly. I will admit I did not dig deep.
Yeah.
But it's a third location, so I don't know where their second location is.
Okay.
But it's a production facility too, so it's like
Yes.
how
Lincoln, Nebraska, of all places. So I don't know if it must be for getting distribution out to the
guess you
the other
could
this coast. But,
Well, I mean, that's
but
still-
we see plenty of Green Flash. So
Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe seeing as that they are in San Diego as well. I mean, they're kind of doing like a middle top of the country,
Right.
and then maybe like a Florida might
And-
be their next stop or
Green,
something.
and I wonder we can dig into it later.
I
But
have to see where their other location is now.
yeah, go. And I wonder because Green Flash also brews Alpine. They acquired them, so kind of like big craft buying little
you're
crafts. So I wonder if that also means that Alpine's already available in New Hampshire.
They are?
We have like 2 or 3 of the
Oh,
brands.
you know what? I think I saw one at the Moose.
Yeah,
probably.
it's
I love
and that was
Alpine.
a good. I mean, but I think that was more of a beer geek kind of fandom than like a Yingling, where everyone knew Yingling. So when Alpine showed up, all the beer geeks like fucking we did it. Yes.
Do you remember the reasons? Was that like a financial need on Alpine's
I don't
part?
know. It
or-
was interesting because I think it was more worded as in Alpine is a very small brewery, so Green Flash will take them and kind of like it's kind of like contracting, but they own them.
But
And a little bit.
But Green Flash is also not that big either. Like if I was Alpine, I'd pick somebody bigger that could help me.
Totally, like Ballast Point.
Doesn't
But too
say
late
where their
to that
second
one.
location was, but they're going to be within walking distance of the University of Nebraska at Lincoln, which
So we're doing a road trip the second they open.
so that explains sort of what they're doing
Yeah,
there.
I was up in Nebraska a couple years ago.
I'd never been.
I drove up from Kansas City, which is a 3-hour drive. But I went because I was meeting a guy in Iowa because it's right there. It's pretty close. And I just named 3 states in one sentence, but whatever. But in Nebraska, I went to a couple. I went to Nebraska Brewing Company. It's awesome. But it's a cool. And Nebraska Brewing Company did an amber beer for 311 a couple years ago.
Okay.
Because of their song
This
Amber.
song, which is an amazing song.
So
by
I
the
guess
way.
they're from Nebraska, and if Ben was in one of these seats,
Is Ben the music? Is he
Ben's
the,
a 311 guy.
Oh, he's a 311
yeah.
guy. All right, I
Yeah.
thought he was the
Oh, no,
music guy.
No, he is for sure. Oh, absolutely. But yeah,
I still haven't done one of these with Ben yet. Like I know Ben, I know he exists. but-
that's our benefit for not being married and not having kids.
Yeah, that's true.
So we'll get Ben on one of these shows, and shout out to him because he's taking some hard tests right now for certifications that are just it's nerd stuff. We're not here for that.
What is he getting? Any good? CISSP, something good?
No, it's nerdy.
All
Ever
right.
seen Wolf of Wall Street? No.
Oh, is he? He's not an IT guy.
No.
Oh, it's
No.
like a Series 7 or whatever.
I
he's
don't- yeah.
got? Yeah.
So I
Okay.
don't know.
All right, I
Yeah.
thought he was an IT guy.
Yeah, that's a let's not talk beer.
Yeah, that's us.
podcast.
We are the IT guys. That's why we spent 5 minutes talking about a computer.
Definitely.
instead
Yeah.
of
Ooh,
this.
what's this? But yeah, so that's it for the news and such. What's we got going on here? Geez, we're talking about Bigfoot.
Yeah, so this is a
What a
Sierra
treat.
Nevada. This is a 2013 Bigfoot barley wine style ale. I poured a smaller one so we could.
It's better than the backwoods.
Yeah, I was going to say that it still has.
It's got a bite to it, though.
Yeah, it's still got a bite, which I mean, it's a year newer. It definitely has that raisininess, which I freaking hate. As these things, I think that's like oxidation or something. I don't know.
Only because it's in the name, but you've been there too. I want to know. Raison d'etre, you fan? 'Cause you just that dogfish.
I would. No, and they actually didn't have. They had raison dextra. The
Okay,
extra,
yeah,
like whatever
yeah.
that one. Not usually my first go-to.
Dogfish,
Honestly,
yeah.
me for Dogfish. Dogfish makes one of my favorite beers in the whole world.
Which?
The
Worldwide Stout.
well, no, there's that one too, but the Festina Pesh.
Oh,
Peach
man.
Berliner Weiss.
Yeah, that's not,
And it's like 4.5% too, so it's more than a Berliner Weiss, so it gets the job done.
yeah. But what's the seaweed one they do? Not the seaweed.
Oh,
one.
the Sequench,
not bad.
which I had that one too out there. That was great, and
Yeah.
I almost brought an original Bitches Brew.
Downstairs, I have their barley wine that someone gave me 2 years ago.
Old school,
I
old
think
school
so.
barley wine. Yeah. So that actually one of the best beers I had at a beer tasting that we did several years ago while camping. Somebody brought an aged old school barley wine. It's great. I also like Burton Baton.
Oh man, and that was when that
that's-
came around New Hampshire for a little bit.
I drank that with Sam.
And Tom Mott had it up here when he was or when
When
Sam
they
came
brewed,
up. Yeah.
when they brewed the Fruit Gruit, they had that with the Randall. They
It's
were
the second time we've mentioned this, and I think it should be a thing where
I'll mention Sam
was,
every day.
It was but it was the greatest event Portsmouth ever saw.
yeah.
Was Todd and Sam.
just hanging out.
What? Yeah.
Like because
I wanted
Sam's
to
not
be there after that though.
because
Like, what were they doing after?
Sam is not your prototypical brewer. Like Sam
No.
is he's no offense, Sam, if you're listening, we love you. Like, but you're a pretty boy,
Totally.
no beard. You're like personable. You're
Great
not like
Great smile.
yeah. Like you can you are like the perfect hybrid businessman brewer.
Yeah.
You know, you're perfect at that, and so you just don't fit the mold when you look at it. Like, oh, who's that guy? Oh, is that the reporter interviewing the brewers?
Right.
Like, no, that's
Guy smiles
Sam.
way too much. Yeah. He has no
he's-
beard. Why is he clean
he's-
shaven?
He's awesome, and he like
Him and Mariah are awesome. Like it's just the for him because it's Dogfish is named for the Dogfish in Maine.
in
right?
Maine. Yeah, so it was his parents have a place up there,
Yeah.
and they told us on the tour actually that he wanted to start it in New England. And
Oh, sure,
and the
'cause
missus was like,
They have like Greenfield ties. Like you go to Greenfield in Mass or something somewhere around there.
The missus was like, I'm not going. I'm we just got married, or they don't even think we're married. Like, I'm not going back to your home to start a brewery. You crazy person in the mid '90s
Right.
when like it was crazy. She's like, what if it fails? I'm going to be stuck there with you. We're going to do it here where my family is.
Damn it.
So I mean, whatever. It was
I want
a
to
fun
go. But
drive.
you had a good time there.
I did. I did
It
really
was
enjoy.
a quick. It was you were there for, and then you went.
I did there, and I went to the brew pub though, which the old brew pub, which apparently they might have torn down by now. They're rebuilding it. But yeah, great spot. Nothing there. For the smallest state, or the second Baltimore, not Baltimore, right?
Maryland?
Maryland.
Yeah.
Maryland is no, they're Delaware.
Delaware is the smallest. Rhode Island.
Rhode Island's the smallest.
gotcha.
See, we've had too much to drink. I'm getting drunk.
No, it's not the case.
Delaware, for being the second smallest state, there's a long drive to get through it.
Yeah,
Like it was a long
because
drive.
there's a road through Delaware.
Yeah, well, and I was going the length of, I was going the long way. Like I guess if you want to go from Maryland to the ocean,
It made it
it's-
seem
it's
long
quick.
because you were going way more south than Delaware.
well eventually, but I also had I had a time. I had to be there at 2 for my tour. I left New Hampshire at 6 a.m. and I got there for my tour.
So let's do this in promotion of the Facebook Live video, which seems to be working 100% better than
nobody's bitching.
No one's bitching, and we got a lot of likes and
Although-
a shocked face, huh?
Oh no, is it? Where's my arm moving? Like, see
No,
my
it's
arms
a
moving.
delay on the left. We get 10-second delay.
Oh, there it goes.
there it goes.
Nope,
Well,
nope. I haven't moved my arm yet.
this is terrible for podcasts.
There it goes.
Yeah, so I'm saying, so in celebration of this, let's end the audio podcast now.
Yep.
I will let you go downstairs and get that old school. And we'll just drink we'll call it the after beer. And
Yeah,
we'll do a little,
we get still got some.
so
we can
and
side by
we'll
side
just-
it with this guy.
it's unscripted. I mean, this isn't scripted, but like unfiltered.
Raw.
Oh, boy.
Raw.
Yeah, we'll call it a rebel. But for now, again, if you're listening to the audio podcast, please tell a friend about the show. And if you
Tell
haven't-
2 friends, actually.
tell a couple friends, and also like the Facebook page if you want, because that's where the live videos we posted. They will be posted on YouTube somewhere else, but Facebook is kind of like where we're going to put it up.
All aspects of social media will be covered. But
Absolutely, yeah. So
Facebook's the live one.
and if you're watching the video, Let's Talk Beer is the Instagram, Let's Talk.beer the website, and Let's_talk_beer is the Twitter. But for now, for the audio podcast, we're gonna shut her down. But if you're watching the video, we're gonna stay on for a couple more minutes. So
Awesome.
until then, we got some Bigfoot, and yeah, cheers.
Cheers.
And again, tell a friend, and
Tell a friend and drink good beer.
and we will be back in a second. Bye. Cheers. Can't end a podcast in bye. Like, screw that.
Bye.
So it should be downstairs top shelf. Because
Top shelf.
top shelf. And I will save this so I don't lose it. This laptop's hot. Oh, totes. Totes? Can I'll leave my own house when I say that? Facebook Live. Wow. We're doing it. What a thrill. Woo. Didn't stutter a bit. And we're watching it too with 7 tabs open. Oh man. Computer, huh? Suck it, Surface. Yeah, leave it open. It's fine. No, yeah, bring it in. And I'll keep the fan on. This is raw and uncut vid right here.
One thing we could do too, maybe, is actually keep the door
Yeah, I don't know what-
mostly
yeah,
open,
that's fine.
and then put a fan out there blowing in.
I can get a little leg cooling going on. That goes a long way.
So, are they hearing us on the video now?
Yeah.
Is
Oh yeah.
it
No.
still
It's
working?
still. Yeah. We're
Okay.
still live. It's fine. But I mean, there's no one viewing it. But
Yeah,
we're
the
fine.
after. The after party.
The after party. Oh boy. After the after party is the hotel lobby. But let me just
There's
check.
no hotels around here.
I wanted to propose to you. Did you want to go to Seven Settlement after this for foods?
Yeah.
Because it's near your place.
We'll take 2 cars.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. As I'm not driving back here.
But my dad.
I mean, unless you want to go somewhere around here too. Like I'll go
No, it's
either
fine.
way.
I gotta go that way anyway.
okay.
So Rick Brews just checked in. He's at Amherst Brewing Company. And speaking of anniversaries, Amherst Brewing Company just had their 20th anniversary. So they're he's drinking out of his mug there.
Oh, that's awesome. Which it looks is that
What kind of beer is that?
is that American IPA or a New England IPA ish?
Juliet is actually extremely good. And my dad is a very strict reviewer on Untapped.
Oh, does he have a system?
No, not even. Like we got to talk about your system too. But starts at 3. Starts at like 2.75. But he gave this a 4.75, which is like either he's drunk already or he loves this.
So I started on Untapped when you couldn't do like quarter cap. Was it just full caps and then they went to
No,
quarter?
I think it was
halves?
always halves.
Okay.
Yeah, you can always do halves.
Which pisses me off because now it's like, oh man, do you know how many beers I had before that I either like I cheated a quarter cap or I gave him an extra quarter
Yeah.
cap because I didn't know what to do.
You can always go back though, change it.
That's a lot of work. I'm lazy.
That's all right. Oh man.
Also, look at my Untapped. My palate has evolved
And
by far.
oh god, and recently on Untapped, so they updated the app, and I checked into a beer at Hopsters yesterday, and I got 6 badges, and I'm like
6
for a beer. I'm like yes. So
That's
I
awesome.
texted Frosty, who's Frosty DG checks in Untapped for every single beer, sample or not. And he's like, oh no, that's fine. I just got 8 for 1 because they're like replicating or going back on.
Oh yeah, so there's
bringing back old badges, meaning you can unlock them again.
I also know the one thing that I did think was really cool that they did too is that they retroed badges that like
That's what it is. Yeah.
When they created the different tiers, like every 5 beers, you move up a different tier in something. They at least like honored that retroactively. Where they're like, oh, all right, so this guy he's checked into 16 beers, he automatically has level 3, which I thought was kind of nice.
So I never had this.
Oh, this is
Let me just-
nice.
I'm gonna do
You're
a
gonna
stupid
rinse
thing.
that. Yeah, that's
sorry.
fine. No, that's. I mean, it's pretty impressive when we have that to rinse with.
I know.
I'll give you a name, or when I share this, I'll tag my friend that shared this with me for the first time.
Well, and shout out to Jackson, my a coworker friend, a beer lover, who gave me this 2 years ago.
oh, so
And recently, last month, he's like, "When have you drank it?" I'm like, "No, I haven't." He goes, "No, now's the time."
So this is a 2014 bottle.
Yeah.
A lot of the neck is rubbed off. I want to
I
say
should have took it out of the fridge before just to let it.
10, 27, 14. Honestly, though, some of these other ones we've had have been pretty warm, and I'm.
But it's like I'm not like I know barley wine should be like a little bit out of the fridge.
I like to start the first. I'll take that first sip though, and like I want to see the evolution because
Well,
honestly,
that's
that's
good
really
call,
the
good
experience aspect of it. Because you can tell people all day long like you got to drink it at the warmer temperature, but they don't get it. So it's like
Yeah.
all right, try it. Here you go. Here's what it is cold, and then go on from there.
See you in 15 minutes.
See, now that's nice. But then again, it's a year newer.
Yeah.
So there's no raisin in that at all. I get a good amount of sweetness. I get some booze in the middle.
I'll send it
That's
to him.
again, it's great. What
Yeah.
did I tell you? It's one of my favorite beers.
Yeah, so it says it's a 15%.
and it's 15.
15,
too.
yeah, a barley wine style brewed with figs and dates. So you get
That's where more of the sweet. It's
I
a
was gonna say
fruity. It's a
sweetness,
fruity.
yeah.
It's and you know what? Sweetness is probably wrong. It's
I'm talking to a big date guy right here. Love dates.
the Bigfoot, 9.6%.
It tastes but it almost tasted like more. Whereas that is
Mm-hmm.
what's that? Would you say that is 10? The backwoods?
Oh, the backwoods is 10.2.
10.2, okay.
The 15%. This doesn't taste as boozy.
Smoother.
Yeah.
It's not. It's sweet, but it's barley wine.
It's the fruitiness.
Yeah.
It's got to be. And I wonder too if you were to give that another year
Wait,
or
is
two.
this a barley wine too?
No, this is. I mean, it might
Old
as well
ale
be.
or something?
It just says ale aged in oak
Yeah,
barrels.
it's like,
so
I'll call that
who
an old
knows?
ale. But
Who
then
knows
barley
what it
wine's
is.
Bigfoot.
When you get into this vicinity, it's sort of a gray area. Like obviously, barley wines and wheat wines are pretty
Yeah.
well defined, but a lot of those old ales and all that crap. I mean, there's a lot of overlap.
Did you see? Did we talk about York River Landing releasing the beers they have for Black Friday?
I think you mentioned last.
Did you see what they were?
You and I talked about it. I think I did not. see
Here's what they are.
Yeah,
I'll
read
pull them
those
up.
off.
This is hot post show talk though, because whatever.
It's fine.
We
People
have beers
need to
finish.
people need to pay attention to the
Yeah.
finish. Yeah.
Pay attention to it. So there a couple days ago was 100 days. I think it was 2 days ago. It was 100 days left until Black Friday.
Yep.
Which York River Landing does the Black Friday event. Third year, I believe this is, where they have like all their taps are dark, rare beers. So
Which Nick does a great job. Shout out to Nick.
Totally.
Like awesome job there.
So on 2 days ago, they revealed 4 of them, and the first 4 that they can reveal are the Thai Speedway Stout from AleSmith.
Oh, that's Speedway. The base Speedway Stout is
Yeah.
stellar.
So this is the Imperial Stout, which is probably the base, with coffee, coconut, ginger, lime, lemongrass, and basil. So it's
sounds-
it's probably spicy, but not like when I heard Thai, I'm like it's gonna be like hot, but it's
yeah,
not.
no,
It's
it's like pad thai. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
It's pad stout.
Yeah, so it's like the lemongrass. Like I think Ballast Point had like a one of those that wasn't. It was an Indian spiced. Beer.
Isn't lemongrass like the new ingredient du jour? Like I know
It's the grains of
they got
Paradise.
the lemongrass luau from
Yeah.
Kona or whatever it is.
Oh yeah,
and, like that's just,
brewed in Portsmouth.
Ooh.
Definitely heard that train break.
train break.
Rarely does it honk right behind me though. Honk. It's a good train break though. I'll take that. The
Yeah,
second
it's
one
great.
is the On Mas Jesus by Evil Twin. It's the Imperial Stout, but here's what the label looks like.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
It's like what's it? Even more Jesus. So that's what that means. Yeah,
Yep.
in Spanish. So it must be like a Spanish even more genius.
I speak French. Sorry. Well, I did speak. I don't speak it anymore.
Dogfish Head, oaked aged vanilla.
Oh, so
worldwide
that's
stout.
this year's worldwide stout. I was reading. They said this year's is going to be vanilla.
Yeah, it says 7.617.
Yeah. So there's not going to be standard worldwide this year, which is,
16% though. Coming in.
Oh, I thought it was 18. Usually it's 18.
So
They must
maybe
have-
I wonder
might
what
just come back a little bit.
I wonder what the sweetness might take it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Hey, whatever they say is good enough
Yeah,
for me.
I'll take it. You win. And then the last one is the it says OBD, but It's not Old Brown Dog. No, but it's 2010 Baltic Porter. But this says OBD right there.
Oh, that's somebody put the wrong cap on it.
Yeah, it says. Don't turn over on me. Yeah, so I would take Baltic Porter. So even though it says OBD 12 on the cap, but 2010 Baltic Porter on the label. It'll be a 2011.
You know what? I'd rather the Baltic Porter.
Oh, totally.
I am huge. I love my soy sauce beers.
Oh, man. And when we were
Baltic
part of
Porter's great.
when they had I don't know if they even have it anymore, the Big Beer Club. But when we were part of it, like that's so awesome.
They do, but they've merged it in with the Pint Club. I think now, like,
okay, yeah.
It's a different gradient of the Pint Club.
Yeah, so I'm pumped for that.
We never got to drink our Miller Lights. That's too bad.
Kingston's Carts.
That's Dave Kingston. That's Timmy's dad.
Share the post
from his business account too.
The business.
So yeah, we said it the F-bomb a couple times, Dave. So hopefully it doesn't.
Only a couple
times.
That's on me too.
No, I dropped one.
But did you? Okay.
Oh yeah, I'm not. I wound up. I wound up for that one too.
Yeah. So a couple things we're working on. If you are still watching this video, get in
I think
there.
it should show you if they're still watching.
No, it does, but they're not. But I mean, if you're watching it,
but
later,
it will post it. Yeah.
We're trying to make. We're going to add more things. Like so, I can show you right now. So we're going to add a second camera, and the beer can will be right there.
Oh,
with the beer that it'll scroll text here with the beer that we're watching.
This app does all that. This program does all that.
No, but I made this. But
yeah, but I mean, the program supports the functionality.
Oh, totally. Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So I mean, but it also supports like I can preload images and like pop those up. Like,
we're gonna have to
talk about shit.
We're gonna have to do that. Now we need to like.
But you can also do hotkeys. Like and 1, 2, 3, 4 stuff like that. So I'll set those up. The banners there and things like that. But also like if we wanted to ever do a pre-show, pop that up there. We're starting soon. So we can play music. You see your face up there? Come on.
Did you?
It's always been there, right there.
Oh yeah, I think you.
But you're drinking from you're stealing it from my tab.
Oh yeah, you got to fix the white around my beard though.
No,
that's pretty badass.
That's all I can do from Photoshop.
I do like that.
So we get starting soon, and then if we ever if something ever really goes down and we got to go away, we just pop up the old BRB situation. Same thing.
Oh, look at that.
Same thing. Just
do you have the warning label on?
No, I should pull it up right now.
You should hotkey the warning label. Yeah. Just in case if we
the problem with that was I couldn't get it at 720, but I'll get it.
It'll be one of those if we drop too many F-bombs and I don't know what the criteria on iTunes is for adult explicitness, but Brian did a great job working out a trailer logo like the Red Band trailers that they do before the movie trailers that have the nudity in them. So we have one when we have beer nudity, I guess you could call it. He's pulling it up right now. We'll see how this looks. So yeah, look at that. Yeah, restricted audiences, kid.
So I even added a little thing under the restricted. So I kind of try to match the font, but I didn't get that great.
No, it's pretty good.
But it said this podcast advertised has been rated restricted, and then it says drinking, language, dad jokes, beer snobbery, offensive language towards beer snobs, crying, and overuse of the term "you're my best friend."
I definitely, I am the one that is going to have the offensive language towards beer snobs.
I'll be you're my best friend. You're my best friend, but that's like beer.
Ben will be the dad jokes. Like none of us are dads.
No, but I have terrible jokes anyway. It doesn't matter. But
last week, yeah, you had two jokes that didn't.
Nobody
laughed.
That? God,
nobody. Of course, I.
You know what? You remember those? So they landed in my.
No,
eyes.
I don't remember what they were. I remember they existed.
Look at it. Looks pretty good on that screen.
Oh, I joined too. Look at that. I accidentally pulled up the. Video.
But yeah, so we're in talks about doing many different things. More importantly, the Power Hour podcast is coming soon.
Coming very soon.
Yes, we need to find a weekend where all three of us can just sit down and do it. And a weekend's very important for all of us.
And not have to drive.
Yes.
Maybe.
I've never done one.
Oh, yeah, Brian's never done a Power Hour ever, which means it's going to end poorly for him.
It sucks because in my eyes, I've done going to a 80% men's college. I've done my fair share of Beirut playing, Flip Cup, things like that, but I've never done But I told you I did the Edward 40 Hands twice.
40 Hands is rough for me. It's the warmth.
It's the warmth. Yeah, then add an orange juice, make them.
So what's your? Let me ask you this: what's your 40 hand strategy? What do you do?
I don't switch.
Heavy on one.
Heavy on one.
Yeah, so that's what I heard.
But again, that's my strategy from. I look at my watch 10 years ago.
I was told from what I was told, what you got to do is you got to get below the hand on one. For the heat perspective, you got to get
what is that? Yeah,
you got to chug one, maybe not all the way, but you got to get one down.
So can I bring that Bailey's koozie in, or is no koozies allowed for 40s?
Well, no koozies for 40s. It's bare raw hand on
Raw
there.
hand, bro.
You want that? Yeah, like we might as well bring in our Yetis, man. No, everybody could do a
They
Yeti
stay cold
40
for
hands.
hours.
Yeah,
Oh,
no
man.
kidding.
We're here tomorrow.
That's always that was what I was told.
But there, in my experience, twice with 40 hands, it wasn't a race. It was just do it, but also like do it before you piss yourself.
Well, but I was always told the first one to finish wins. Though.
Yeah, but there's nothing to win.
But you're
so,
right.
Yeah.
You're the
You win a trip to the bathroom, like without peeing
So
yourself.
what was your 40 of choice? You like an OE guy?
So in Boston there was a bunch of bodegas and there was OE. So we had OE,
OEs,
and OE
yeah.
once and then a Colt 45 another time.
Yeah, I'm usually an
Or
OE
snake
guy.
bite? No, not snake. But what's rattlesnake?
Oh, I don't know that
Does that
one.
mean-
That sounds. Was there a rattlesnake in it? Because that would make it even.
No.
better.
It's like the tequila with the scorpion in it.
Yeah,
no,
or the worm. No,
Yeah, no,
thank
we
you.
got that. But the one time I went to get 40s for a bachelor party, I went to at the New Gary's. They had they only had Colt 45s with my God, the guy from that rap group. Don't say anything. 'Cause it's
I have still know what you're talking about.
3-6 Mafia. Juicy
okay.
J.
Oh,
was
yeah.
on- we were all white. So it's like, who's this guy?
Whitest people ever.
Yeah, but I knew he was. But yeah, it was that ended up in like that ended my night 140.
So speaking of that, actually, I saw somebody posted on Facebook, and I'm gonna pull it up right now. I think it was Whitey's sister Dee Dee. This new Four Locos.
What? Like street legal for locals?
Yeah.
or-
So they all the Four Locos now are street legal. I posted on Facebook that she should get me some, and she never responded. But I'll send you a picture to put in the show notes if
Yeah.
you want to or whatever. But they're the bartender series. One of them is called Mofo. The other one is called Scorpion, and the other one is called Hooters. Just look at these motherfuckers. Look at that. Like
you wouldn't even tell them.
no, that you know what it looks like. It
What?
looks like these new the modern like alcoholic seltzer shit that all the women are drinking these days.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
We got to get some of that.
Oh, totally. But is that around here or no?
Yeah, she's in Massachusetts.
So $8 for a 4-pack?
I'll take it.
Wait, how much is? No, I'm saying that's great.
Yeah.
But what's the ABV? Oh, 10%. Gotcha.
So, did I ever tell you my Four Loco story?
no, is there? Do you have one? Of course
Yeah.
you
Well,
have one. Fuck me for thinking
well,
otherwise.
yeah. So when it first was a thing, Whitey and I were still living above the brewery, and basically one day he's like, "Go get some Four Locos." I'm like, "All right." I'm like, I was working from home or not working that day. This is right after we moved in. This was definitely 2010. I knew it wasn't available in New Hampshire, so what I did is I literally like drove to Newburyport and then drove down Route 1, stopping at every packy
Did you get the
that I
Learys?
drove by. Everyone, you got Four Loko? Nope. You got Four Loko? Nope. I got to Ipswich Liquors.
Oh, yeah. Right
Ipswich had them.
by Momo Meredith.
Got in there, and I took 2 of each. It was eight of them. Got to, like, and I'm like carrying them like this.
Ipswich Liquors is a pretty solid store.
I got to the counter, and the guy's like, "Well, this is a new record," and I didn't know
Got
whether
it,
to be
yeah.
proud or embarrassed.
Yeah,
like,
I'm sorry.
proud for myself or embarrassed for him that nobody had bought more than 8 before.
Right.
Brought him back home. Literally, I mean, this took me 2 hours, 3 hours. Like, I'm literally driving down Route 1, stoplights and all. Every packy I saw, I stopped in. Came home the highway, thankfully. We had some. I think I had 2 of them.
Okay.
I think I died that night. Like, I had the weirdest hangover.
So was it? Cause I've never had a Four Loko, and I definitely won't now until those come out. 'cause-
yeah, we're gonna get those
So
for
was
sure.
was it like basically like jungle juice in a can kind of thing? Like
Yeah, I mean, so it was a malt beverage. So it was like they do. They make beer and then they take the alcohol out and they add it into something that
bullshit.
tastes good.
Yeah.
And there was like caffeine and shit in it.
Yeah, but what did that do to you? Like, do you remember even what it did to you? 'Cause,
Well, I
like,
just know that like
it's
my
the
hangover was like
extreme upper, extreme
I felt
downer.
drinking it. I was fine.
Yeah.
It was the hangover. I just felt weird. It was one of those like out of body experiences. Like I'm laying in bed, like the worst hangover ever. It's like the worst hangover ever.
Do you
But worse.
do you have stages of hangover? Like, is your hangover go the same way?
Well,
So
no. Now I'm just an old man, so I have old man hangovers.
so I wake up foggy, the headache kind of subsides, but then somewhere midday is when the sweat started to come in. I don't know where.
So yeah,
Even during lunch, whatever. I'm not even doing anything. And then I just start profusely sweating and like, oh, that's why. Because
I have delayed hangovers. Now.
like shit.
So
that's the
I
worst.
usually
'Cause
wake
you feel
up
good. You're like,
well, I usually wake up drunk. Like if
Yeah. Oh no, I love the. Oh no, I'm
Like-
fucking still drunk. Like,
yeah,
Should I drive anywhere?
Yeah,
Like, it shouldn't-
yeah. No, this is
weird,
bad.
yeah.
Another funny story.
Wait, did you finish your Four Loko? I apologize.
Yeah, the Four Logo story's over. But one of the times I was going over to Anthony's house to bottle,
Yeah.
it was a Sunday morning. I had been out all night Saturday night, and I'm driving to his house through Portsmouth because I live downtown then, and I had been drinking all night. I was obviously not beyond the limit, as you'll find out in a second. But I had my car was full of shit. So the bottles that I had been saving up to bottle with were all like stacked in beer boxes on my front seat. And my car wasn't registered, which is par for the course for me. And I get pulled over at like 8 a.m. on a Sunday, and I'm like, oh god, I smell like a brewery.
Yep.
I've got a bunch of empty bottles. So the cop comes up and he does the look around. He's like, those are all empties, right? I was like, oh yeah, going to bottle today. We homebrewed a couple weeks ago. He's like, all right, then license and registration, and everything was fine.
Yeah.
He's like, make sure you get your car inspected because I could have had it towed right now. And I was like, well,
Jesus.
thank you, officer. But yeah, so the next morning is always a question. But no, I'm usually drunk, and then I'm fine, and I'm like, yeah, I missed it.
Yeah.
And then about, I don't know, lunchtime, maybe a little after lunchtime,
Yep.
I want to find a shotgun to chew on.
I get the brain heartbeat, which is like the worst. Like I feel the
Yeah.
worst. Like I've done something wrong.
There's no amount
It's
of
like,
Advil
why?
for that
Yeah,
one.
why?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm an ibuprofen guy anyway, almost by prescription because of like running stuff. Is I want to keep the muscles like ready to go, but not enough ibuprofen.
No. Yeah, no, you have to take an illegal dose
So-
to do that.
So yeah, Four Loko.
We'll get some. No, I'm gonna text Dee Dee right now and find out why she didn't get it for me, and we're gonna get it for the next show.
So yeah, so our plan is to do a power hour sometime. Let's not talk beer.
Sometime.
Even just to get you in on that too, as like you're like a guest in the show.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I
'Cause
could,
Ben
we
and
could do
I-
my new like a reintroduction.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Because Ben and I have done our own like Let's Not Talk Beers, and just like it's over the podcast we've done. It's like everyone knows what we're dealing with. But the problem we have with these is we want to is it curtail? No, we want to skew the questions where we aren't asking the same questions to the same people. That way, you'll get different response from us. If we have guests over to do Let's Not Talk Beers, like trying to find ways so listeners and viewers can like get different answers from us. Otherwise,
Yep.
like, what's your favorite music? And then we'll keep saying
So
keep saying the same
2/3
thing.
of the podcast is the same thing every week.
yeah. So,
no,
so-
I get that.
Or trying to like push it in a direction where you get some new stuff from us, but it's also like it is only like a third about us. It's mostly about whoever we have.
I think if we let the guests drive a lot of that,
Yeah.
I think we might.
And so I guess if they ask us too, it's like it's not our fault because we're not guiding it. So,
Yep,
but it's also
absolutely.
that people will listen to it. But Deacon Giles would be rad to
Deacon
have as
Giles
like
would be great. And I also want to explore some of these breweries that have now become distilleries too. Like because that's a great like segue.
the one place I have that's local is Stark. Ever been to Stark?
No, I haven't.
So they used to be called Millie's Tavern in Manchester.
Oh yeah, I know Millie's.
So they rebranded to Stark. There's still Millie's there, but they're now like their distributed distributed beer is Stark. They just came out with rum or scotch.
Oh, well,
Very
that's
different.
Fine with me.
Yeah.
But
I had a friend, Ben was saying one of his friends went to get it. On his way to his car, dropped the bottle. It's a $45 bottle of
Broke.
whiskey. Yeah,
that
bye-bye.
sucks.
Yep.
Well,
No
it also
refund.
like going back to what we talked about with Anchor. Anchor Distilling was not part of the sale to Sapporo.
Yes. So we should when we get out there, we need to go to all of them.
Oh yeah,
Anyway,
yeah. We need to take the show on the road, kid.
Oh man, can you imagine taking the show on the road now that we're? Oh wait a second, Jesus.
We'll
I
have
was
to-
just talking about. I was talking to a now I call friend of mine that was a friend of a friend, came from San Diego just to hang out here in Boston for a couple days. I'm like, I got to go to San Diego again, and we now speaking of Frosty DG, we're gonna go visit that guy. He'll be good to have on a podcast.
We got to get my buddies that quit their jobs and spent 365 days driving around America, and their plan was to visit 365 breweries.
But that wasn't the movie. That
No, this was just two guys, and they ended up visiting 700 breweries
really?
in a year. And I was lucky.
What? Well, I guess it's fine. I mean, you can check off 10 easily.
They
around here.
took some trips home too. Like
Oh,
they
wow.
flew
That's
back and
cool.
forth. But
That's awesome.
I was lucky enough to meet up with them in San Francisco when they were on that leg of their trip.
Yep.
I was there for Thanksgiving. They're good friends with my friend Epa that works at Lagunitas, and he's like, my buddies are coming to town. You got nothing to do. They're here to visit breweries, so let's go. And so that's when we got our like private tour of Lagunitas from Epa, obviously, but we got let into Russian River, the back door kind of stuff, and I took them around the city to a few places, and super legit guys. They were like corporate types, with beards. And like, fuck it, let's go. They sold all their stuff, bought a used van, drove around the country, and now I'm pretty sure they both have jobs in beer now. Like they got back to Texas. I think one's in Colorado now, the other one's in Dallas.
That's
so
cool.
We'll I'll give you their names to tag for this. And I'll tag them when you share it.
I was telling someone about Russian River yesterday, where it's just like that 20 sampler, like that thing.
Oh yeah, no, that's
their beers.
They have.
It's crazy.
They have by far one of the more iconic samplers. I think it's also very difficult to operate if you're intoxicated because it feels like the drinks are going to fall out, but they don't.
What an unassuming place, though. That like you
in a strip mall.
Like what the like what? It's here for real. Like all this.
It looks like a shitty eye doctor's from the outside, other
definitely.
than the huge line. Although
I
did see a guy puke on the parking meter right out front. Like literally, the bouncer that stands at the door stands next to this parking meter, and this guy like came out and just yacked everywhere, and then. They just brought out a bucket of hot water and dumped it on it and moved on. I was like, how do you get that drunk at a place like this? Like, have some respect.
I know. Come on, go across street to the Bertucci's or whatever's going on over there.
Yeah, exactly. go to Coors or something.
Instead of Cheesecake Factory, get over there. Oh man. Jesus. Anything going on this weekend?
Going up to camp.
Nice.
Ashley's family's got a camp. Gonna pack a cooler full of beer.
Nice.
I'll
finish up those
Millers
and Buds.
Well, we might leave those and just bring some interesting stuff. Definitely gonna bring the rest of the focals or whatever.
Yes.
But that's.
Can you say one focal for me?
Yeah,
that's my favorite.
Yeah, Focal's way better than Heady.
Absolutely.
I'll put it.
Absolutely.
I'll put it.
Yeah,
on
that's why we're on video. Yeah, I'll put it on camera right now.
Focal is better than Heady. Yeah, no, we'll probably save those. We're gonna go to Smiley's, the new Smiley's in Dover. So,
is it where the old one was?
yeah, they I think they rebrand.
Yeah. Let me know how that is too.
I think it's. I think I've been in there before. I think it's the same. It's
you got to go to because you'll be the first probably before me to go. I know Chuck has been. We talked to go to Chapel in Maine.
Why don't we just go together?
Let's go together.
Yeah.
We'll set up like I want to get one more lapel mic so it's not so obvious that we're podcasting.
Yeah,
and then just podcast
so we can just talk.
Oh yeah,
actually no,
it's
that'd
like
be
right
awesome.
here
Because then I could fold in my food review aspect to that too. We could food review and beer podcast.
Hell yeah.
No, I'm down with that. I'm looking for an excuse to go.
Yeah, and I'm going home this weekend to look at some Western Mass breweries, but I'll be there for another reason. But to also, like when I go home, I want to also package in some other stuff.
Oh yeah,
it's a 2-hour drive home.
We got to do the Main circuit.
Yes,
too. We'll pick up a weekend soon.
Yeah. I want to go to Mass Landing.
Go to Mass Landing.
I didn't go the time that I said I was going to because I wanted to wait.
Yeah, got to go to Mass Landing. Bunker's new location's great.
Yeah, I want to go there too. Foul Mouth, want to take you?
Yeah, I've not been there yet. We also
look at these guys, huh?
Oh, is that what that was from?
Foul Mouth.
I didn't even. I see the teeth too.
Yeah.
Oh, I like it.
Definitely.
Because we also could, as much as Bissell is, played. They have a distillery, and a winery. I've done the wine
in the same
building
in the fried chicken place.
Okay. Oh yeah. The Portland Hot.
That'd be awesome. Everyone's in line, and we're just like going by line. Oh, we're gonna go to the winery.
Yeah. So honestly, I've done the tasting at the distillery. I've done the tasting at the winery. I've had the chicken. It's that building is heaven.
Yeah,
like that building.
You've done it all.
and
show me this.
No
place.
Disrespect to Bissell. I don't know if it's the best place in the building. I think the chicken might be the best place in the building.
I was gonna say, geez, that's awesome.
But yeah, we can do that. And then hit the Rising Tide, the Oxbow blending room.
I love Oxbow.
Have you been to the Urban Farm Fermentary? You can get kombucha.
I haven't been to Urban Farm, but I've been to the distillery next to Rising Tide.
The main distillery, main craft distilling. Yeah, that been there place. Too. Had some great stuff. So we did that whole circuit.
They do a good gin for sure there.
Oh yeah,
great gin.
But yeah, we gotta do that. We'll do a little,
and we got to go back down a notch to do the Notch circuit, but also go to Far From the Tree just to check it out, and then try the vodka that just came out at Deacon Giles.
So I'm wondering, if we did instead of an official like podcasty thing, what if we just sort of had the lapel mic or one other
this
mic
thing is for,
and just did some quick talk, a couple quick talks. That way we're
done.
That way we're drinking beer and eating the pretzels and not talking too much.
I think we can hook this thing in your iPhone to make your video have that audio. I have a cable in there that will do that.
Yes.
Yeah, so it'll be crisp ass audio with video.
Yeah. Look, this is
yeah.
This is awesome. And if we need to, we'll bring the whole setup.
Yes, just
bring the whole thing.
All right, so the name of the episode is decided already. It's called Bud Stuff. Got it right there. That's what we're gonna do from now on. Is right on the old whiteboard because I always forget.
Bud
Stuff. It's so good. But we're gonna finish these beers off camera. But Facebook,
check
we're
it out.
back. We did it.
Look at that's awesome. I can't wait to see how many viewers we had. I'm
Zero.
So excited. No,
Zero.
We had more than that.
We had seven.
We had more than
seven likes and zero
current
dislikes.
viewers. No, you can see.
Oh yeah,
you can see historical views.
But yeah, so until then, after show's over, we gotta go Seven Settlements and
eat some food, drink some beer.
Yes. Goodbye.
Goodbye.